Hey, welcome back to the Crash Space. My name is Andre. Thanks so much for tuning in. It is April 19th, 2026. It's a Sunday morning at 4:19. How's everyone doing? It's been a busy weekend. That's for sure. It's nice to be here. Sunday morning on schedule. About 10:15 is when we're meant to start, so it's nice when we can nail that. Hey, Lion Cereal, how's it going? I can catch on live today. Hooray. It's been a long time. Welcome. Glad you can make it. It's yeah, the Sunday streams have been quite nice. I know they don't always work for everyone, but it's good to get to a live one, I reckon. Hey, Phantom Flip, Justice Silk, nice. Haven't been able to catch a live stream in a while. Hope you're well. Did you see the new Fear No Evil article? Firstly, I hope you're well too. Thank you. Things are going well. Definitely saw the Fear No Evil article, and we're going to talk about it today. We're not really like a news content channel, but I think like giving thoughts on, the announcements. For those who don't know, they announced basically the entire roadmap for what FFG is going to be putting out this year in terms of Marvel Champions. They announced it earlier, right? So we have a full idea of all the products and ballpark when they're going to be coming out. So just this Thursday, as was predicted, by predicted, I mean somebody from FFG said it would happen, because people were getting upset that there's no article Thursday after Thursday after Thursday. They released the first article that gives you a pretty big dive into what happens or what's in the Fear No Evil deluxe box, the new campaign box. And if you ask me, it looks really quite good. It looks good. It is finally a campaign box. It's been a while. I guess we've missed one since then. So it's nice to have a campaign box. It does have some modular stuff attached to it too. So kind of reminds you a bit of Civil War or yeah, but looks a lot more interesting, a lot better. At least the way that I like my stuff. We will definitely be opening that article and reading through it. The question is, I don't know when to do it. Usually more people show up to the stream a bit later on as it goes for a bit. So I reckon we're going to do the deck breakdown. We're going to play a game against Batroc, and then we'll open up the article and dive through it because there's a lot to talk about. It's actually quite exciting. Off the top, the release date is, I believe, the end of July. So it is a ways away, unfortunately. So it's like July 26th. I think that's what the Asmodee website is quoting. As much as those dates can change, they usually don't come earlier. If anything, they come later. But it's a bit away, that's for sure. I know you asked in Maverick here, but I saw it in Man in My Hype. Finally said campaign content. The main schemes look really fun and flavorful. Yeah, it's like this weird midpoint between modular main schemes and modular villains, but compared to Civil War, it's very, very different. There's a lot of theme, a lot of flavor in each like set block of cards you can add together. So that seems okay. Can agree more. This box is more hype than I've ever been. I'm sure it will deliver to you. I was pretty hyped to read the article. Notably, the article doesn't talk about the heroes. It only talks about most of the villains. Also, this is the first box to have like 6 proper villains in it, 6 scenarios if you want to call it that. And they haven't really talked about the campaign mechanisms, but I'm imagining it's going to be a bit like roguelite-ish, where like every time that you run through it, the campaign will be slightly different based off your choices and your orders. So hopefully that matters. Joel, how's it going? Hey, it's your Sunday. It's nice to see you last night. So right off the top, I just want to plug this, and then that'll probably be it. We've been streaming a fair bit this weekend because last night I got to do something it's been on the back burner for a while, and that is this YouTube channel called Velma's Diner. You'll find a link to this in the description if you want. But we did our first stream yesterday. Hold on, what is this? Oh, I need to get rid of that. Velma's Diner is a channel in which I wanted to stream some Arkham Horror, which is another card game FFG puts out. It's a living card game as well. It's cooperative or solo, kind of exactly like Marvel Champions. And our stream was really fun last night. Unfortunately, okay, how do I hide myself? Because I put together like a nice overlay and stuff. We're playing two-handed for the first time, and ideally we'll figure out how to play two-handed on this channel, but we have a whole system to do it. The one bad thing is when we got to gameplay, I played the first 3 turns, and then my entire block lost power. We lost power for about 2.5 hours last night. It was a bit of a windstorm, but nothing like really notably bad. I live in an area where the houses are pretty old. This condo that we own is like 100 years old, if not more. We lose power more than you'd think. It's not more than is a problem, but like when anybody loses power, we lose power. So like we get 3 turns into the first scenario and power just cuts, which is so annoying. And then it didn't come back for like 2 hours. So what I'm going to say is sorry that we couldn't actually like play the game actively, but we will return on Velma's Diner for sure. And we will go through this scenario, let alone this campaign. But we have this whole overlay. It works pretty nice. I'm excited about it. I actually learned a fair bit more technology that I can use for this channel as well. It allows me to do interesting things to control the overlay while we're streaming, which is good. Playing with that technology is always like a lot of fun. But anyways, that's a thing for sure. So if you want to watch some Arkham Horror content, you can find a link in the description. It's called Velma's Diner. We've been talking about doing this for years, honestly, longer than the Marvel Champions channel. But I want to say one of the weird things about Marvel Champions versus Arkham Horror is when it comes to Marvel Champions, I like playing solo. I like playing solo a lot. I mostly play solo. But when it comes to Arkham Horror, solo one-handed, it hasn't ever been my favorite way to play that game. That is a game where I'm usually playing 4 players, if not 2 to 3 players. So I'm going to try and play two-handed solo, which is not something I've done here, but it's also something I'm learning I should probably do on this channel, because as soon as you start to play multiplayer, it opens up a lot. And maybe I'm just not familiar with the 2-player meta of this game, and maybe I'll like it a bit more. Wait, let me sub quick. Thank you, Lion Serial. There's no link in the description right now, but you can find the vanity. It's youtube.com/@Velma's Diner. One word. It's going good. Using your stream as a background as I set up my stream setup. It's turtles all the way down. Hopefully it's going well. Congrats on your first Velma stream. Can't wait for more Arkham from you. Max Heel, how's it going? Thank you so much. The problem, honestly, right now is a time problem. I do not know when I will have the time to run 3 YouTube channels to some extent. And like, you can do as much as you can or as little as you can, right? But like, we're streaming here every Sunday. Notably also, we put out a video this week. I said last stream that we won't have time for a video. And then last week on Sunday, we played against Ultron and we weren't able to finish the game because we ran out of time. And I was like, no, this is such a fun matchup. So I just recorded the gameplay and got it up. So there is a video. There's some live gameplay. I did change the thumbnail of the stream last week post release. So the stream title or the stream thumbnail used to have Ultron on it. And I changed it to one of the Marauders just so that the thumbnail that had Ultron on it made more sense. So I did do that. If you see the thumbnail and be like, I don't remember watching this, you probably did if you watch the streams. So apologies for that. It's a weird thing to do, but I decided to make more sense. Anyways, there's this channel, there's Netrunner, and Netrunner, I put out a video last Friday. There's a 4-hour edit I have to get done for Wednesday. It's almost done. So it's like, it's a lot of stuff. So trying to figure out what like schedule makes sense to do consistent Arkham Horror content is going to be hard. Like there's no way around it. It's difficult. I think my only solo one-handed game was with Jenny Barnes as a solo deck. I think it's quite popular. Oh, the solo deck? Yeah, this is the thing with Arkham Horror is like in Marvel Champions, just about every character can play solo. And a big part of that is like you can build your deck to do everything you need to do. You can just play Justice if thwarting is a problem. You can just play Aggression if damage is a problem. But when it comes to Arkham Horror, it's a fair bit different because there are 5 classes. But when you pick up a character, it tells you, it prescribes you what class your character is. So imagine it says Silk, but Silk can only play Protection. And that like just gates you off, right? Like if you're playing a Guardian, you don't have that many cards that get clues, which is kind of equivalent to doing damage and removing threat. Say clues is threat. It's the important thing that you have to do to not lose, let alone to progress. But there's a lot of classes that are just like pretty bad at doing it. There's also classes that are just in the middle of the road that can do a bit of everything. And the more that I've played Arkham Horror solo, the more that I'm realizing I'm only playing the very few classes or very few characters that can be self-sustaining, which is why I'm way more excited to play two-handed, where I can have like one person who's fighting based and one person who's clue based, and then actually have like bespoke, interesting decks. Yeah, we'll see. 1 second. I think the camera's slightly too high. Yeah, that seems better. All right, now let's talk about today and this week. And this week, as you probably heard from everything I've said so far, it has been pretty busy. And this is a week that I genuinely haven't had any time to play any Marvel Champions. So this deck is entirely untested. It tackles 2 things that I wanted to tackle. Firstly, playing Justice. It's been a while since we played Justice on the channel. It's just been a minute. I don't think we played Justice for like 2 weeks, or sorry, 2 months. The last time we played Justice, I'm pretty sure was probably Miles, so other web warrior. So that's something I wanted to do, just play Justice. Justice is relatively straightforward. The builds are not incredibly like, the pieces can interact with each other, but it's generally not like a ratios problem. It's much harder to build like an aggression deck with weird combos or a protection deck, I guess, than it feels like you can build Justice deck. It's really easy to build Justice slop because there's a lot of Justice decks that the cards are independently quite good. Second thing I wanted to do is I want to play Silk, because Silk is a very interesting character and Silk is a very fun character. For those who don't know, Silk tucks cards underneath her, and then based off the cards underneath her, she'll increase her stats, or she'll be able to like cancel or kind of change effects around. It's a very powerful play line, and actually is really dependent on what you're playing into. If the villain has a huge encounter set, that gives you a lot of ways to interact with the villain positively. If you're playing with a lot of small encounter sets, it gets a bit more interesting, but maybe a bit less consistent. That's good and nice and fun. However, The problem is, every time that we've been playing Web Warriors on this channel for the last little while, we end up, and sorry for overusing this word potentially, but we end up playing a Web Warrior slop, where we just play basically all the good Web Warriors. We're bouncing SPDRs, we play Peter Parker, you play all the Web Warrior cards, and it's very quick that your deck is overwhelmed by the fact that playing just like 9 Web Warrior allies is the best thing you can do. And for that reason, I specifically went out of the way to play no Web Warrior synergy cards. This is just a Justice deck doing its own thing, but none of the cards in here are Web Warrior specific, so we're not playing any Web Warrior allies. And I was excited about that, because again, it feels like so many of the Web Warrior decks that we play are basically a Web Warrior shell and then a couple hero cards, and they just all feel kind of the same, and that shell is just very, very, very good. So that's where we are now. This is 41 cards, I think. Maybe it's 40. I also haven't tested it, so we're going to find out if it's even worth doing. But it does do the things I want to do. Not play Web Warriors, play Silk, and play Justice. So let's do that. Haven't played this deck. We'll learn together if it works or not. Let's start here. This is Silk. So we have a 1, 2, 3 stat line. That's not amazing, but Silk has a lot of ways to make her stats bigger, let alone she has a flat 1 thwart upgrade she can get. So she can become a 2, 2, 3, and that's really important. I think getting your thwart up to 2 is huge when you play solo. Talk about Arkham Horror, I guess. And our response says, after you defeat a minion or side scheme, you can choose to, or a treachery, excuse me, you can choose to tuck that card underneath here from the encounter deck discard pile. So that's an optional ability. Notably, you can't have more than 4 tucks cards beneath her, and if you do, you discard all but 4. So you can always change the cards on you. It's not like when you're at 4, you're stuck. You can add a 5th card, and then you just have to push a card out, which in theory could be the card you've just added, but there's not a lot of points to do that. Why do we want to do that? Well, technically there's no reason to do that inherently, so we're going to see her cards. Abstractly, if you keep a card pinned underneath her, that card is not considered in play. We will put that card face up on the table so you can see it, because you need to see the text, but it's not in play. So if the deck is about to cycle and there's a really bad encounter card, you in theory could pin it underneath you to pull it functionally out of the game. That is not a real thing that we're going to be doing. It's not like that just doesn't happen really in the game, but our other abilities will really matter. Now our alter ego here, hold on, where's my search? Cindy Moon. And Cindy Moon's alter ego has like very, very, very good text. It says if there are more than 4 tucked cards, discard all before. So the exact same text. Hold on, I lost my mouse. But then it says as an action, you can discard a tucked card underneath you to draw 2 cards. Which means if you have at least 1 card underneath you, which they're hard to get an alter ego, not impossible, but hard to get an alter ego, you are functionally an 8 card hand size. Because you start with 6, you spend a card underneath you, not in your hand, underneath you, and you draw 2. So you're an 8 card hand size, which is really, really good. This alter ego is worth doing every turn that you can, because just drawing 2 more cards every turn is just so many cards to draw. And so our deck, like many decks we play on this channel, really loves to be an alter ego. And so we have a lot of ways to jump down an alter ego. When it comes to protection, that's like ready for fight, or whatever it's called. Yeah, ready for fight. When it comes to justice, it's mostly confused or just saying, I don't care if you thwart. And so we'll see how that lines up. But jumping down to alter ego is really important. Now here are her upgrades. There's 4 of them. 3 of them kind of work the same. 1 of them works slightly different. This is the Outwit. It's a 2-cost upgrade, and it says when you do a basic thwart, exhaust Outwit, and for this thwart, she gets +1 thwart for each card tucked underneath her that matches the encounter set from the thwarted scheme. This one's really interesting because it is very important, or it's like totally contingent on the scenario having a lot of cards and a lot of schemes from the same set. It's cool that you can pin a bunch of allies, or sorry, minions underneath you and then thwart a scheme from that set, and then that works out for you, but it's not incredibly consistent. The best and most consistent thing you can do with Outwit from my minimal Silk play is that if you pin a lot of cards from the main villain set, so say you're playing against Rhino and you pin a bunch of Rhino cards underneath you, now when you thwart the main scheme, that is technically a Rhino main scheme. So your thwart can easily go up to like 5, which is really, really, really quite good. So that's the best case for this, and the most consistent case for this is thwarting the main scheme or side schemes from the main set. On average, it's easier to get cards tucked underneath you from the main set, but it's not very easy if there's like a we have Batroc's Brigade in here, which is an encounter set that has 5 cards with 1 side scheme. It's like not easy for that to line up, but otherwise that's totally fine. Then all of these are kind of symmetrical, except all the other ones have like bigger kickers on them. Like Spider Claws is the same thing for +1 attack. However, the enemy, the attack gains piercing. So that's quite nice, let alone this is a 2-cost asset that gives you piercing or an upgrade. That's like totally fine. But the big thing, once again, the way to make this the most consistent is either against an encounter set that has a lot of minions, that's nice, or like say you're playing against infinites, or when you're attacking the villain, because the villain is the card, they're the encounter set you're more or less most likely to have the most cards tucked underneath you. Now, we do have a 3 block, and we are going to be defending a bit. I think I've mostly played Silk as a protection deck, as much as I do think Justice was, no, I think she came as a protection deck. Yeah, she definitely did, because she had Stop Hitting Yourself in her deck. But protection for me is like one of my favorite ways to play Silk in general, because I like protection, but notably Spider Reflexes is the best card, it feels like, with these 3 upgrades. It gives her +1 defense with the same sort of like condition. So if you're blocking Rhino and you have a bunch of Rhino cards tucked underneath you, you're blocking for like 6. Like that's obviously very, very good. But the biggest thing is after this attack, tuck the top card of the encounter deck discard pile underneath Silk. So that always gives you +1 card. That is really important because for your text to be good, you need to be pinning cards underneath you just to make all your abilities scale, let alone all our things you usually care about releasing cards underneath us. And this is the only way to go like card positive turn after turn after turn. Because if you defend, you're probably not taking damage. You have 3+ block, and then you always just grab a card, and it'll be basically one of the boost cards that you draw, which is really quite nice. That just like gets all your other cards better, as much as unfortunately you will be exhausted because of course you did defend. And I guess that's our natural transition to organic webbing, which just says you get +1 thwart, which is nice. And it says you can exhaust this to discard any card tucked underneath you to ready Silk, and technically she gets aerial, which is not something we care about in this deck. So that's good because again, it's actually really important that we use our basic activation multiple times a turn, because all of these cards are basically throwing their value into the toilet if you aren't ready and you can't use a basic action. So like it's not uncommon for us to defend, grab a card, sell that card, and then just do a big attack or a big thwart. And that's kind of what Silk does. And it's really quite fun actually. It's a bit thinky. It's pretty interesting. She also has some of the highest thinkiness when it comes to cards. This is Eidetic Memory, and this card is like potentially quite busted. Specifically, you're playing an encounter set that has like really soft treacheries or even minions. So when you reveal a card from the same encounter set as a card tucked underneath your identity, you can swap those cards and reveal the other card instead. This is an interrupt, so it says when you reveal, so you actually do see the card. It's not when you would reveal a card, so you actually can see the card and be like, oh, I don't want to do Shadows of the Past, I'm good. And you can just swap it for a card underneath you. If there's a set that has like, you know, one of those encounter cards that just says add 2 threat or like the villain heals 1 or whatever, like those cards don't matter. Put a drone into play, right? And you can just basically be pulling that card over and over again. And then the big thing is once that treachery or minion resolves or is defeated, you can just tuck it underneath Silk. And so you can always say every treachery will be the worst treachery. And by worst treachery, I mean the worst treachery for the villain, like the best treachery for you. This card is like sneakily incredibly good and allows you to have so much control the same way Falcon does, arguably more in some ways. This card is like very, 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 very good. All right, we have Albert Moon, good alter ego. So it's a persona, which, hey, we're coming for you, Bullseye. So either as in alter ego, you can exhaust to either tuck the top card of the encounter deck, which you won't know what it is, or heal a bunch of damage. This can heal up to 4 damage because it heals damage for each card tucked underneath her. So this is one of the few ways you can tuck a card underneath you in alter ego, but notably, this means we can just jump down and do a lot of healing. Notably, we have 3+ defense and 10 health, so healing is like not the most important, but Albert Moon is, it's nice that Albert Moon has a use case even when you're full of cards underneath you. So you have some options how you use there. I purposely avoid Web Warrior decks personally. They're all the same and way too powerful, so it's less fun. I'm getting to that point too. And it's like every time I build a Web Warrior deck, the Web Warrior package is the biggest part of it, and it usually eclipses the thing that your hero does. And it's samey, and yeah, they're really, really strong. Hey, it's J. Jonah Jameson. This card I don't love. I think it'll be a bit better in our protection deck. Or sorry, in our justice deck. As an alter ego, you can exhaust this card to search your deck and discard pile, forget the scoop, and put it into play, which is our like side scheme. And our deck really wants to play side schemes. Our side scheme is like okay. It's not amazing, but it's okay. So it's nice you can get this. But the biggest thing that you can do is an action with this, you can just remove 2 threat from a side scheme. So this really incentivizes us to play side schemes or get side schemes, which is something we can do with Justice. The one thing, and I know I'll repeat this in a second, is one of my least favorite things about playing Justice side schemes is I do not like the Justice side schemes. I feel like on average, the Justice player side schemes are way worse than any other player side schemes per faction, per aspect. And maybe that's because they're balanced around the fact that Justice has good incentives to play side schemes, so all the side schemes feel a bit worse comparatively. But like the Justice side scheme that does 5 damage to the villain, like that does not excite me the way that the aggression ones, and mostly the aggression ones and the leadership ones do. So it's not bad text. 3 cost is pretty expensive. You can cheat this out with a player side scheme, and you can play the neutral side schemes, and as much as we're not. Now our events. Smooth as Silk. I don't like this card. It's a 0 cost event, so it's really easy to play. It says choose an enemy or scheme, discard cards from the top of the counter deck until you find something matching, and then tuck that underneath Silk. Doing damage to the discard pile, it's not a cost, right? Like getting faster to your acceleration icon or just ripping through the deck so other rip through the deck effects can whiff, I guess that's not really a point. That just feels really expensive, and spending a card just to get one card tucked underneath you does not feel great. I wish this card drew a card or did something else, because again, all this does is tucks a card underneath you for 0. That does not feel good enough. And unless you're in a situation like Wall Crawl where you need a card from a certain set, it's not often that you need a card from a certain set is what I'm trying to say. It's more often than it would be nice to get +1 to your defend, but it's not necessary. There's very few effects where it's actually correct or it's required to get the card. Wall Crawl is one of them, but not really important. Would you say he's not quite your tempo? Wait, Ryan, who is it? Is this a tempo joke? How are you doing? So Wall Crawl is our only thwarting event in the deck. So it says remove 2 threat from a scheme, choose a scheme, you may discard a card tucked underneath Silk that matches to remove 3 threat from the chosen scheme. Notably, you can split, but there's nothing that stops you from picking the same scheme that you're already threatening. So this is a 1 for 5, but you have to discard a card underneath you that matches that scheme. This is the only card, arguably the only card where it's really important to have smoothest Silk to line this up. But again, generally the main scheme is always a target for this because you always will have cards from the villain because they're the most cards. This is the next one, and swinging Silk Kick, like 1 for 2 threat is not amazing, let's be honest. 1 for 5 threat is really good, but swinging Silk Kick is a 3 for 7, but it becomes a 3 for 9 with overkill if you can discard something of the same type. All I'm saying is that 3 for 7 is okay on some board states. 1 for 2 is never great on a lot of board states. Sometimes you will just do it, of course, but we have 3 of these, and this is just a 3 for 9 with overkill if things line up. Generally, it's minions, right? So you want to make sure that you always have a minion underneath you from whatever set has the most minions so that you can do a massive kick to a minion when it shows up. Otherwise, it's very easy to do 3 to 9 to the villain or the villain's minions, and then the overkill is relevant or not relevant. Depends. Finally, this is Get the Scoop. Our deck is going to be interacting with this one a fair bit. 0 cost, exhaust your identity to remove 2 threat from here. Any player may trigger this ability, so we're not going to do that largely. But it has 4 threat. It comes in for 0, which is nice. And when defeated, Cindy Moon player can look at the top 2 cards of the counter deck and tuck one of them underneath her. I'll be honest, that's not amazing text. Having a card tucked underneath us is not that difficult if there's enough minions and side schemes and we're defending with our defense upgrade, but it's not bad. And we're going to have a lot of synergy things off of taking threat off of multiple stuff, so we'll play it, but like, I don't know. This is not the most exciting card. All right, everything else is the stuff that we've built. And these are the cards that are doing a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of like removing threat, in terms of giving us utility, and of course, confusing so that we can jump down in Alter Ego and use our ability to draw 2 cards and be an investigator, a journalist. Quick Quip was a new card that I'm pretty sure came out in Cindy Moon's pack in her deck. Requires a mental, and it says deal 1 damage to web warrior character you control, which has to be us. There are none others in her deck, and we can place up to 2 confused statuses on up to 2 enemies. It can be the same enemy, which is fine, so you can beat steady, but otherwise you can confuse a minion and confuse the villain and jump down, which is quite nice. Specifically, the encounter set that we're playing against, or the villain we're playing against, is Batroc, and Batroc actually is pretty soft to confuse, even just like being an Alter Ego. Oh, hey, Nanico the cat. It looks like Maddie left for brunch, so it's just the 2 of us. Thanks for joining. So yeah, this is just a good card to be able to Alter Ego. Now, I didn't want to play 3 of them because they are a bit expensive, and the more of these that you have, the less good they are because of the villain's confused. The villain's already confused, so we'll see if this is too few or too many. Again, I have not tested this deck at all. Upside the Head. Now, this is one of my favorite cards. We're only playing 2 copies for the same reason. It says after your hero makes a basic attack against an enemy, hello, Nanico the cat, confuse that enemy. Notably, we do want to be doing our basic attacks somewhat consistently because we can boost our attack stat. And if the villain is already confused, we can stun them, which is just even more value as much as we don't mind defending. So those are quite nice. Informant. This is another nice way to jump down. It's also thematic. We are a journalist here. So it says when a minion schemes, discard Informant, the activation removes threat instead of placing it. So if there's a minion in play with a lot of threat or a lot of scheme, thwart, we can just like let it go through, which is good. Unfortunately, Nanico the cat is like blocking exactly where chat is, so I have no idea what the chat is saying. So hopefully everyone's doing okay. Hey, little friend. Oh, she's like so excited now in the mornings to wake up to sit in the sun in the kitchen. And today, despite being called Sunday, it is really quite dreary out. So yeah, not the best day. Oh yeah, you're cleaning yourself in front of everyone. That's so nice. Show how clean you are. All right, I'll catch up on chat once it's a possibility. So sorry, we're flying solo here. This is Dazzler. I don't play a lot of Dazzler because she's quite expensive, but she says the word confused on her, and people love putting her in confused decks. I think she's really quite expensive. We'll see if our economy is pretty good. Ideally, we have an 8-card hand size, so it feels like it shouldn't be that difficult to play Dazzler. But after she enters play, confuse an enemy, and then she has 2 thwart and 3 health, and 2 attack and 3 health, which is like not bad, obviously. Scarlet Witch. This one I was actually really excited to play. Oh, not you. I was almost going to play Scarlet Witch today, actually. But my Justice Scarlet Witch deck is like 47 cards or whatever. I was embarrassed. So 2 health, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 health. Sorry, 2 cost, 3 health, 2/2 is really good. She came out in Wonderman. It says after you play Scarlet Witch, discard the top card in the counter deck, and if it's a treachery, resolve as when revealed. The way that I'm seeing is that we don't mind resolving more treacheries because we can control the treacheries we resolve, let alone if we see something on top of the deck, or more accurately, the more treacheries we see, the more things we can pin underneath us. So Scarlet Witch seemed like a nice inclusion. We're also playing Manifold, who might not be good for the deck. After Manifold enters play, we can search our deck and discard pile for a player side scheme. The only one we're playing is the one in our kit, but it's really easy to play. You can either look at that as Manifold as a 2-cost character that thins your deck, or is better than that, but we're not playing any other side schemes. I don't think any of the basic ones are worth playing, but I could be wrong about that. We're playing Eros because Eros has confused technology. Also, 2-cost allies are just really good, so we can confuse a bunch of minions. We have Quake because we want to be jumping down in Alter Ego, and Quake defeats the minions in Alter Ego if they scheme. The one problem is that if Quake defeats the minions, we haven't defeated the minions, let alone we're in Alter Ego, so we can't tuck them underneath us because all that text is attached to our hero, so it might not be the best choice for the deck. We're playing Prof X because of course we are. We're jumping down. We love the confuse. And we're playing Moon Girl because we are genius traded when we're in Alter Ego. And that's a place where we want to spend a fair bit of time. Moon Girl's quite nice. Now we have Justice Staples. So no surprise here. Under Surveillance. Oh, Nana, you have nice ears. Under Surveillance just means it's easier to jump down one way or another because we want to be getting side schemes. We have 2 copies of this. 3 felt like a bit much, but we have a lot of synergy pieces when it comes to dealing with side schemes, like Overwatch, which also has a spider theme to it. This card I don't play a lot of, and whenever I do, I'm super impressed with it. So it says when any amount of threat is removed from a attached scheme, remove an equal amount from a different scheme. And if we're pulling side schemes consistently, this should be just free gas. And we're very good at doing a strong basic thwart on a single side scheme if we're lucky. And the fact that we can thwart the main side scheme for like 5 using our upgrade and then push all that also to a side scheme will give us a fair bit more flexibility using Silk's kind of limited boost stats. So that feels really nice. Clear the Area, just a good card in solo. It's quite nice. It does 2 threat and draws a card. We're playing the full playset. Maybe we would want to cut one. I was also thinking of playing multitasking, but multitasking just kind of feels exactly like what we're doing with Overwatch, but it also has a bit of a spider theme. Of course, we're playing Skilled Investigator because we're going to be cracking side schemes and it's just pretty free. Ingenuity is the only resource generator we have besides having a lot of cards in hand, and we are a genius in Alter Ego, and this generates a mental, which is what we need for all our kickers, and then we just have energy, genius, and strength. So like super straightforward. Just play some good justice cards, get some side schemes, and go from there. Sorry, I can't read any part of chat because again, Nanako the cat has really parked herself there. So hopefully y'all are well. Hey, how's your Sunday been? What a good cat. She's incredibly soft. All right, so once chat gets to about this height, cat height, then I can start to see it. How's everyone's Sunday? Normally the studio door is closed, so Nanako can't get in, but because Maddie went off, I don't want to leave her on her own because she starts yelling when she finds out that she's on her own. Let's just set this up really quickly. Do a shuffle, and then we'll be off. Oh, sorry, I think I nicked you. We're 1, 2, 3, right? Give us a shuffle. All right, I'm catching up on chat. About the Justice side schemes being meh, I feel you. Show of Empathy is really good. Show of Empathy is the one that I considered. The problem with Show of Empathy is it has massive anti-synergy with Silk because you're not defeating Show of Empathy and you're not defeating the minion. Show Empathy is like the one good side scheme. It's really quite good. But yeah, unfortunately, it just is not a good Silk card because it doesn't do any of the Silk stuff. It's probably still just a good card on its own with Manifold. And it's nice probably to have a toolbox with Manifold, but that was the problem is I didn't want to play it because it doesn't make that much sense. Hey, Wasteland, I forgot that Silk can tuck minions in side schemes she defeated. Spider UK is usually taking out minions, so I can't never tuck them anyway. Yeah, you have to do the work for better or for worse, which is nice to get those boosted stats, but you're totally right. How's it going, by the way? Is that you have to do the defeating, which means same thing that Change of Fortune will fire. Kitty cameo, kitty cameo. Sorry, yeah, I'll see chat when it shows up, so sorry if you have any like burning questions. It's going to take a minute to get there. Dana, do you want to do the main scheme? You want to operate the main scheme for us? So clean. All right, that's probably good enough. I think this is 41 cards. If you want to suggest what to cut, I will see that suggestion in 2 to 10 minutes, I'm assuming. Yeah. Best support you could ask for is Nana Go Cut. Okay. We'll give this a shuffle. Let's talk about Batroc. So we have Batroc set up here. So you probably know Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not one of my favorite boxes, and Batroc is actually one of my most frustrating scenario designs. And that's because I think it actually has like really weird scaling when it comes to solo play. The big part of that is that the card that cares about the cameras, that really needs you to exhaust all your characters, is brutal when it comes to solo. Because if you can't exhaust all your characters, you have to add like 2 alert counters, and the margin of error for alert counters is so low. In fact, when you're playing Batroc on expert solo, you can lose on turn 1 without making any bad decisions. And by lose, I mean end up on expert. And once you're on expert, you can just lose in a single turn, right? So you see when it comes up, but Batroc, whenever he attacks, puts a counter on alert level. When it hits 4, a bad thing happens. So if Batroc ever double activates, so like if it's at 1 threat or 1 counter, Batroc attacks you, you put 1 counter. If you defend that and say you draw 2 encounter cards, 1 encounter card says Batroc attacks, you have to put a 3rd alert level there. And then the 4th card says exhaust your hero. If you can't, you have to put an alert counter there. You can just lose the game out of nowhere. I don't think there's a scenario that's that bad that has a lose condition that you can just get by drawing 2 boost cards, or sorry, drawing 2 encounter cards in the same phase. It's pretty rough. Okay. Cat's gonna get. So yeah, not great. All right, chat is cleared up. 47 card decks are fine. Just embrace it. We cannot tell. You can tell. You can count to 40. You can count to 47. You'll figure it out. How's it going? You didn't talk about the new box? Christian, yes, we will. We're going to play through Batroc and then we'll talk about the new box. Usually like more people show up the later the stream goes. There she's in the background. So we're going to wait until that happens. We'll play a game here for sure. Yeah, good morning. Excited for Daredevil. I don't know who Daredevil is. I'll be honest. I have an idea. I know he's a lawyer. I know he's blind. I know he can kind of like see things, but like I've not engaged in any Daredevil media that's been like important to me. I think I'm going to go back and watch the Netflix show from 2015 because I've only heard great stuff about it. I think the new show on right now is meant to be pretty good. So like the villain, like the characters in the box, I know very little about. And that's because that sort of wave of like Netflix content, little in comics I never read, but the tone and the location I really like. What's been really exciting for me is like the comics I knew growing up were a lot of like Spider-Man comics. So seeing like Hammerhead and like Electro, like as much as I don't know who this version of Electro is, like that's really cool. Cause also when I think of New York street crime, I think mostly of like, oh yeah, we're cleaning up Tombstone and Laramie Fisk, like stuff like that, or not Laramie, whatever his name is. But yeah, definitely excited for the box. So far what we've seen has been pretty cool. And Echo sounds like she's going to have a neat kit too. That's in protection. So I have no doubt they're going to do great jobs with all of that. But like, I just don't know the heroes that much. Like, I don't know what Jessica Jones's shtick is. I know Luke Cage what his shtick is. I'm assuming Punisher will show up in some way. That's mostly it. I'm most excited for Elektra. Yeah, Elektra seems fun. I could see Elektra being pretty cool. All right, so this is Infiltrate AIM Island Assembly, or Embassy, wow. So we picked this because thematically we are a bit of an investigative journalist, and so we are going to be investigating the AIM Embassy. We're going to spend a lot of time in Alter Ego. We have Batroc's Brigade, which is again 1 side scheme, 1 treachery and 3 minions, so it's hard to get good silk value. Same with AIM Science. 4 minions though, which is nice. One of the also pain points is we're going to find is a lot of these characters, they have vulnerable on it, and vulnerable fires, basically they get discarded when you stun or confuse them. Notably, our hero text says after you defeat a minion. So we're going to have this like weird thing where if we want to pin like an AIM Scientist underneath us, we actually have to defeat it. Now, I don't think there's any cards that have huge punishments for defeating them in this scenario. Besides, actually, no, there's a bunch of scientists in Batroc's kit. But also, anytime something is defeated, we have to put an alert counter on the alert level. So you are incentivized to not defeat them, but to discard them. So we're going to have some weird pain points on both sides. It's nice that we want to be an alter ego, which Batroc actually really doesn't like you to be an alter ego. But on the other side, yeah, it's also kind of rough. So in expert mode, put 2 threat on alert level. Again, I do want to say that the alert level is incredibly punishing. If we don't deal with all of the alert level as soon as turn 1, we can immediately on turn 2 be on expert alert level. I don't like it. It's very, very, very punishing. Let's flip this over. Infiltrate AIM Embassy. Infiltrate. Okay, so Force interrupt. When the last threat is removed from the scheme, advance to stage 2A. The players win by advancing, and this has 6 threat of 12. This is the sort of like setup that you have in Galaxy's Most Wanted. It's also the sort of way that schemes are created and interact with in Lord of the Rings LCG, where it's not about it's about clearing the scheme, not about just making sure you don't lose. So as soon as we hit 6 threat, we advance. When we advance, things don't get a lot harder. The main scheme kind of changes, and we have to rescue people from the AIM embassy, and we can stay there for a while. So we could stay on this main scheme. It doesn't really matter whether we go to the next one. There's a higher threshold. I think it's 15s, but it doesn't really change that much. Now, the villain has pretty mean text, has 12 health. As much as we don't really want to defeat Batroc, it's okay if you do. You remove 6 threat from the main scheme, which that's better than nothing. But there's not a lot of reasons to defeat Batroc in this scenario. There's not like attachments that are permanent, stuff like that. So I usually don't defeat Batroc more than once. And that's because I don't want to waste damage. If I have damage that we might as well play. Now, after Batroc attacks, place 1 threat on alert level. And this is what I mean. If we don't deal with this, Batroc can attack us, and we could draw an encounter card that says Batroc attacks you, and then just this thing pops, right? Like, you have to keep this down to 0. Even keeping it down to 1 potentially can cost you the game, specifically when it comes to Expert, where you can draw a card that just says Surge. So that's not great. This alert level starts on low. It says if there's 4 threat here, you flip the card over. When you flip the card over, things get worse. This will flip over guaranteed by the latter part of the scenario, so it will just happen. And it says after a character is defeated except by consequential damage, place 1 threat here. So you don't want to be blocking with allies. Even just defeating minions puts threat here. And as an action, you can spend a resource of any type to remove a threat from there. Same idea. One of my criticisms with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. box is that there's a lot of cards that just say spend a resource to undo this progress, and it's just not particularly fun. But we have to do that a lot. In fact, this turn we probably have to do that. Hey Bbix, how's it going? Managed to catch a stream? Welcome. I like that they took the modular main scheme idea and improved on it. It makes sense for a street crime box too. Any villain could be committing crime at a given time. Replayability increased. Yeah, we will say this again, I have no doubt, when we start talking about the article. But one of the big things when it comes to FFG, let alone most board game companies, but I know this for a fact for FFG, is that this box that we are seeing right now was designed a long time ago. Like it has been completed, it's been worked on for a while now, right? That's just kind of how FFG works. And so when you see things like modular schemes, modular scenarios, which was a big piece of technology in Civil War, if your feedback was, and it seems like at least the feedback online was like, we don't like these, I don't like these. If that is the feedback, it usually takes a while for that to be actually noticeable and be addressed. It usually takes about a year, maybe a year and a half, to see any feedback be acted upon on FFG's designs. Now, why I'm saying that is that I think there was actually a pretty big backlash, at least to some of the more entrenched community, when it came to the modular schemes in Civil War. It's really cool that they still did modular schemes, but they did them with, it seems like a lot more flavor and care. Like they actually do seem like bespoke scenarios, as opposed to being like, I don't know what any of the main schemes do in Civil War. But yeah, if the feedback was we don't like these, they did not hear the feedback in time before they made these. But all that being said, they look so much better for obvious reasons because they solve a lot of the problems with modular main schemes you get in the original Civil War. So that's good. Yeah, I'm not a fan of scenarios with rescued characters. Scott, how's it going? I don't mind them. The rescue characters in this one are like, okay, we did play against the Morlocks last week, and like the Morlocks are fun. They give you some interesting points. I think rescuing that racist senator, Robert Kelly, is like pretty fun, actually. I like that scenario a heck of a lot. This one and the next one are, and again, maybe that's just me not liking Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., are weird because the balance on the characters you rescue is like kind of weird. All right, we're off. Informant. We don't really need to keep this. There are no minions. So yeah, we'd rather set up with other important cards. Albert Moon is arguably an important card. You can do this thing, which is a bit like spinning the wheels, but you can spend 2 for Albert Moon, use Albert Moon to tuck a card underneath you, and then use your alter ego to just draw 2 cards. It's not the worst. It just means Albert Moon is functionally 1 card out of your hand, which that's a cheap way to set up an Albert Moon. But it's something you can do. If you have a double, it makes it a lot more easy because Albert Moon is no longer 2 cards. Manifold. We could use Manifold to go get our thing, our side scheme, and play it. I mean, not incredibly important. I'll put that in the maybe camp. Energy, we'll always keep a double. Nice. Swinging Silk Kick, we have 3 of these. Our deck actually has way more damage than you think it does. However, I'm not excited to do 7 to 9 damage. It would probably be 7 damage on turn 1 against Batroc, so we're not going to keep that. Last card is Overwatch. There's no other side schemes here, so Overwatch, you can still just put on the main scheme. The problem, not the problem, but the cool thing about Overwatch is not a forced interrupt, so if you just leave it on the main scheme, it might fire later. My guess is that we have 2 more Overwatches, we can actually just keep this to be greedy and not keep any of these cards. Our deck is like so very important that we find our upgrades. So I think I'm just going to mulligan for the upgrades. And notably, you could play some player side schemes that allow you to get supports and upgrades from your deck. I could see the upgrades one mattering. The issue is our thwarting is not that good, but maybe the Justice decks fix it. I believe Caleb did way back, and he's just been in the backlog for many years. Oh, made Daredevil a long time ago? I could see that. Spider Claws. I've no doubt Daredevil is a favorite for many people, let alone designers, to get done. All right, we have Wall Crawl, which is probably not going to be more than 1 for 2 threat, which is probably not worth playing. Clear the area is a bit awkward here because if we clear the main scheme, we advance, which might not be the worst. And 2 clear the areas. Okay, so a bit of a weird start, that's for sure. So if that's the case, I think we're just going to do the best we can, which is set up our upgrades. But I'm going to start by spending a double for Albert Moon, and I'm just going to use Albert Moon to functionally cycle some cards. So we're going to exhaust Albert Moon to tuck the top card in the counter deck underneath Cindy. It is Evil Alliance, so it's a standard 3 card. Notably, it's nice that we just randomly drew this so we don't have to deal with Evil Alliance. We are playing standard 3, I don't think I mentioned. This would have just been a boost card though, but it's underneath us for the purposes of interacting with standard cards, which any card underneath you, standard cards underneath you are the least valuable in some ways because there are no standard side schemes, there are no standard minions. The only reason why you want a standard card underneath you is that you can interact with eidetic memory, where you can be like, oh, instead of doing this, discard an upgrade or something like that, which is not a standard 3 thing. Oh no, it is a standard 3 thing, isn't it? So we're just going to use our alter ego text to get rid of this. So we're going to discard this to draw 2 cards. So we have to hope this brings the whole hand together. Upside the head's pretty good. Nice. And then we have, who shuffled this? I think we just drew 2 yellow cards, the same yellow card in a row, followed by 2 of the same yellow cards in a row again. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, Christian made Daredevil back in the day. Yeah, I can see that. Daredevil is like the character that I think has shown up on the most art in Marvel Champions to date, and that hasn't been on as a hero yet. Let alone, yeah, I guess has been on 2 allies. I think we have a Protection Daredevil and a Justice Daredevil. I think that's it. Okay, so we need to take 2 threat off of alert level for hopefully obvious reasons. The playing the upside the head is good because it means we can jump down later. So like this is 1. We could do 2 and then we could just use 1 on alert level. I mean, like that's probably good enough. It is a mixture of setting up or not. Like I do think you can just lose to alert level, which is the problem. It's unlikely on turn 1, but like you do have to respect it. It's like pretty rough if it happens. So we'll flip up into hero mode. Our text is not super relevant here. I'm gonna spend 2 for Spider Claws. Again, the text on this is not super relevant either. We're going to need to pin cards underneath us, which we don't have a lot of control. The defense one is the best one for that. We will do a basic attack for 2 with Silk. We can use our Spider Claws, so we will. So we do piercing. It doesn't really matter. We might as well just use the cards. But we do 2 damage, and with upside the head, we also get a confuse. So that's nice. So Batroc is down to 10. And then I'm just going to spend 1 resource on upside the head to deal with alert level. In theory, we actually could have done stun and confuse if we just played 2 copies of upside the head, and those are our only 2 copies of upside the head. So it might have been good to do them together. I'm not too worried about the stun here because our basic activation is not incredibly useful next turn, so we can always just defend, but we'll probably just take the first damage to the face with Albert. We will attack for 2 and we'll just remove 1 from alert level and we'll pass. Draw up to 5. We can jump down to draw more cards. Okay, that's the best card. This is what we wanted to mulligan for. It's Spider Reflexes. This means now blocking puts cards underneath us, which is incredibly valuable because it's hard to do that. Arrows, which we don't want to be chump blocking, but if there's minions, arrows can confuse them, which is really good with villains or minions you can discard. Ingenuity is fantastic. We have to be an alter ego though because we're a genius, but this is our research generator. Oh, we have genius for ingenuity. I mean, that's so fitting. And then we have J. Jonah Jameson, who's like kind of whatever. But yeah, if we can play him, we'll be happy, but I don't think we will. All right, this goes to 7. Now Batroc attacks, and the villain, is it an interrupt when Batroc? No, it's after Batroc attacks, so we don't get the counter yet, but that won't really matter. So Batroc is attacking for 2 and a card. The most this can be is 5 damage. On average, we're taking 4 damage here. If we defend, we can't do anything cool. Are we doing anything cool here? Probably not. This is the biggest issue, is that if we defend here, we can draw the card that says like duck the cameras, and if we draw that card, I think we just advance the alert level high alert level on turn 1. Like I'm pretty sure it has 2 counters, but I might be wrong. Maybe it's only 1 counter. Hey, Nanako the cat. Good seeing you again. On your way through. Oh, there goes the camera. Okay. You hopping down? Bye. Okay, so I think we won't defend here just to stay ready, because if there's a card that really punishes you from being exhausted. Layla, how's it going? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So command security office. It's a shame to see a Batroc side scheme, because that's a nice way to get Batroc cards underneath us. So we'll take 4 damage, and this goes up to 2. Oof. So Sinister Strike. So we're gonna at least defend this one. So this is from standard 3. So we'll put 1 counter on Pursued by the Past. Once it hits 4, we get our Nemesis set. And Batroc's going to attack us. We will defend. So it's 1, 2, 3. Embassy Guard, we take no damage, but we have to put a counter here. So yeah, scary. And now, guess who has to spend 2 more resources this turn, or they can't do anything? Don't love it. I swear you're always playing super interesting matchups. How do you decide on this one? This one I decided because I wanted to play Justice. I wanted to play Silk. The matchup to me thematically was interesting because I wanted to play investigative journalist Cindy Moon more than I wanted to play Silk herself. And so this is the one where you're sneaking around and doing, like, you know, corporate espionage. So that seemed kind of fun. Remember, you can tuck. Oh, yeah. Super important. Yeah, we can tuck this. Thank you. Yeah. I was like, why don't we have cards underneath us? So you can't tuck boost cards, but you can tuck treacheries that you've resolved. That's really important because we want a card underneath us so that we can draw a card, which means we can either use Albert Moon to draw 4 cards, or we can use it to do 1 healing. I probably won't do 1 healing, but thank you. Yeah, I would have forgotten that for sure. Okay, so this hand is probably play Genius for Ingenuity. The issue with alert level is that you can only do it as a hero. So we have to make some big decisions here. There's a chance that alert level is fine on 3 because Batroc can't attack us when we're in alter ego. So that we might just be able to greet it. We're going to draw 2 more cards here. I want to play Spider Reflexes. I could also just see us like dumping J. Jonah and Eros into 2 threat here. And then whatever we draw with our card underneath us, we'll play Spider Reflexes. That's probably for the best. So I think I'm going to spend 2 and to bring this down to 1. This is a bit scary. Then we are going to just hop down, right? We can use Albert Moon in 2 different ways. I'm going to start by just grabbing a card. I think we need a card here. Yeah. So we're going to tuck the top card of the deck underneath us. It's an AIM Soldier. Okay, so that's one of the AIM Science cards. These cards don't all have a vulnerable. This one does. I don't know if there's a good way to show what these cards are. Technically, the text at the bottom is like really thin, so I guess we'll do it like this. Maybe the card text at the top is easier to tell what they are. I don't have a good way to represent this. It's small text regardless. And now we're gonna do Cindy Moon's text. And I think I'd rather get rid of Sinister Strike because you don't really interact with standard cards. So then we'll draw 2. One way or another, we can't play Swinging Silk Kick. We can't play. So this is a bit of a dead hand. That's actually pretty bad. We're wasting resources here. We'll do 1, 2 into Ingenuity. This is a really bad hand, actually. We have to waste 3 resources. Oh no, it's not. It's not. We play 1, 2, 3. We waste 1 resource and we'll play Spider Reflexes. So this is the good one. This one allows us to tech cards a bit more aggressively because we get boost cards as well, and we are now defending for a lot. Next turn, we can either heal for 1. We'll just do a basic recovery and we'll draw 2 more cards. So we're gonna have an 8 card hand size, which is good. I like the adventure type of villains and wish they explored a bit more, kind of like Batroc, Hela, Sinister Six. As I understand, it's closer to Lord of the Rings LCG. Oh yeah, I guess you're right. Sinister Six does it too. Yeah, that's neat. Yeah, very cool. Skilled Investigator, that's perfect. Really cheap card. Overwatch as well. We're definitely going to do some thwarting work, but there's not a lot of side schemes on the table right now. Uh-oh. Okay, Scarlet Witch is good. She's a good card. She's cheap. As much as you don't want to be blocking with allies. Outwit is nice. This means we have almost the whole gang here. This is the +1 thwart one, and we have Smooth as Silk, which is not a card we really usually play. All right, this goes to 8 of 12. We could lose to an encounter card. If we draw an advanced equivalent, we do just lose. Confuse is gone. 1 encounter card. AIM Scientist. Okay, this is interesting because this one doesn't do anything on its own. If you get the AIM Soldier, this one actually like gets in, but it has Surge. This is vulnerable. We cannot attack it while there's another AIM character in play, right? Or another minion in play. What does this do? Because this is the wrong order. When revealed, file the AIM Scientist and put in play engage with you. If it's already in play, it engages you. Okay, so that's all it did. This is what I mean. Like we could have drawn these in the other order, and now this is what we have. So notably, AIM Scientist, you can't attack it until you defeat the AIM Soldier. We have this underneath us. So our basic attack is actually 3 with Spider Claws. So I think there's a chance that if we Albert Moon, we don't go to the AIM Soldier. If we can stun or confuse the AIM Scientist, that would be the best case. Because notably, when we defeat the AIM Scientist, we have to put a threat on alert level because something was defeated. So this is where things get tricky. I think no matter what, we're going to use Albert Moon's text just to tuck the top card of the deck. It's an Embassy Patrol. Okay, so that's a Batroc card. Nice. This one's really hard to deal with because if you don't use the vulnerable on it, you have to add 2 counters to alert level, which is pretty rough. But that's not bad. I think we're just going to get rid of it. It's nice to have a Batroc card underneath you, but what are we going to plan with this hand? With this hand, what are we doing? We need to keep the soldier because we trade into the soldier. Scarlet Witch is worth playing. Outwit is worth playing. Yeah, I think we could use some cards. So it's not great to get rid of a Batroc card because it makes our block better, but we'll discard this with our alter ego to draw 2 more and see how much deeper we can get. 1, 2. 1 threat on the main from Aim Soldier. Did I not read the text? If Aim Scientist did not enter play this way, plus 1 threat on the main scheme. Oh yeah, good catch. That actually might matter. Our threat situation is pretty bad. We drew Prof X. Prof X is actually pretty good because Prof X can just stun the Aim Scientist, which discards the Aim Scientist, and that saves us 1 alert level counter. That's actually pretty great. So this hand has a lot of options for sure. We can no longer recover because we have to attack the Aim Soldier, so we'll flip up. And I think we're just going to start by attacking for 1, 2, but we're going to use our Spider Claws. And so the Spider Claws means that we do +1 damage because we're doing Aim Science into Aim Science, and we defeat this. We're going to choose to tuck it underneath us, so we are now very good against Aim Science, but we have to put 1 counter on alert level. Okay, so we're not going to play these 2, so we'll do 1, 2, 3 for the Professor. When Prof X enters play, we can stun a minion, so we're going to stun the Aim Scientist, which defeats it because they're vulnerable, but more accurately not defeats it, discards it. That means 2 things. We don't put a threat on alert level, but also we can't tuck it underneath us because we didn't defeat it. Prof X will thwart for 3. Now, Prof X is not amazing because if we block with Prof X, this will actually advance because we'll get 3 from the defeat, 4 from alert level itself. So, yeah, not great. We're going to need the Outwit. I'll be honest, I think we probably just play Outwit here, play Skilled Investigator, and remove 1 threat. So I'll spend 2 from the Outwit. This card's not doing a lot. Honestly, there's the chance that this is not the play because this is only good if we tuck Batroc cards underneath us. We've only seen 1 so far, as much as there are a couple minions. Those minions have vulnerable though, so we're not incentivized to tuck them underneath us. We'll play Skilled Investigator because it's good, as much as we did lose 1 side scheme so far. And then we'll just use Overwatch to get rid of 1 counter. That's it. Okay, so this is another turn where we can just go to alert level high, and it's not much we can do about it. It can just be bad for us. So we'll draw 5. Eidetic Memory. So this is okay. We don't really have a setup for it. Quake is also not great in this scenario because you don't want to be chump blocking, and 2-cost allies are just really good for that. We've cleared the area, which feels like a bit too little here, but this is one of the weird schemes that come in, or scenarios that come in with a lot of threat immediately. One way or another is actually really quite good because we can set something up with clear the area. And then we have Quick Quip, which is perfect if we draw anything that has vulnerable on it, let alone it means with Batroc we can jump down. All right, this goes to 7. Batroc's attacking. If we defend here, we do get punished if we draw the cameras, but I don't think we want to defend with Professor X because that's quite risky. Actually, maybe we do. If we defend with Professor X is defeated, we put 1 alert level counter. Batroc attack resolves, we put the 3rd counter here, which means if we draw the card that says you have to exhaust yourself, we won't put another counter here. That is the most common card in the deck. A card that says you have to exhaust to every character. For every character you don't exhaust, I'm not sure if it's placed 1 threat or 2 threat on alert level, which is just like, how are you meant to play around that when you're playing solo protection? You can't. Like, it's so frustrating. I don't get it. And so like blocking the Professor X plays around that card, but obviously Professor X's defeat puts 1 counter here. If we block with ourselves, we're not thwarting a lot, but we won't pin a card underneath us. I think we have enough cards underneath us. I'm going to block with Professor X. This might be wrong, but we'll find out if we see the camera card. 1, 2, 3, 4 is Machete. So Professor X is knocked out. This goes to 3 counters. At least if we draw the cameras here, we are allowed to duck underneath them. So this is the most common card in the set, and it is disgusting. So it says in alter ego, remove a threat counter, gain surge. That's obviously very good. But it says for each character you control, choose to either exhaust the character or place 1 threat on alert level, 2 threat if it's on high. And this is what we were playing around here. So now we have to exhaust ourselves. If we didn't, we would put 1 threat here regardless, and Professor X would exhaust and waste. So it would get wasted. So what we did is the same outcome, except we didn't have to technically risk taking damage. Maybe that's still bad because we could have pinned a card underneath us with Outwit, which will pin this card. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we're going to tuck that one, but I think there's 3 more. And imagine this. Imagine you're playing on Expert. It's the last side scheme or main scheme here, excuse me. So this is on the alert high level side, and then you block, and then Batroc just pulls this out. Like, you just lose on the spot. Because on any turn the Batroc attacks and then you draw this, if you can't exhaust every character, you are losing the game. I do not get this card. This card says for each, which means if you can't exhaust yourself and you can't exhaust an ally, like, you just lose on the spot. This adds 4 threat in a single card. Anyways, nonsense. You know how I feel about this card. It's straight nonsense. Okay, so threat is not great here. In terms of ways to make our threat multiply, we do have a security cameras card underneath us. So if we draw our wall crawl, we can actually remove 5 in one shot. The other card we want to find here is Overwatch, because Overwatch doubles that, especially when we pull a side scheme with one way or another. There is no more copies of Overwatch in our deck, but when we play one way or another, we draw 3 cards, which I could see that being good just because extra resources are good. I do not know how bad the side schemes are in this scenario, but I think we're going to find out one way or another. So search encounter deck for a side scheme, reveal it, and then draw 3 cards. So this is the encounter deck, so we can't check the discard pile. We have Batroc's Brigade. We have the Mad Science one, which pulls in scientists. And honestly, that's it. That's not going to be great because we don't have a lot of choices here. So Batroc's Brigade. Batroc's Brigade. Batroc's Brigade. Do I not have this? No, I have it. So it says each minion against toughness when revealed, each enemy a tough status card. I don't care about that. It has 6 threat, which sucks. When you reveal a non-elite enemy, spend 3 resources to cancel the effects of the minion and discard it. Discard is nice because you're not defeating it, which actually means that you keep under alert level, but 3 resources is a bit expensive. So that's definitely an option. The other option is Mad Science, so it comes in with 4 threat. AIM minions have acceleration, which we've done with most of the AIM minions. I don't think these are considered in play. And it comes in with 4 threat and acceleration. These are both pretty bad, let's be honest. At least Mad Scientist is within the ballpark of clear the area, and actually we thwart against it for 4 immediately with AIM soldiers underneath us. So I'm gonna go for Mad Science. So it just comes in with acceleration and 4 threat. We'll shuffle this back. All right, so we can deal with that. If we could draw an Overwatch here, it would be amazing. And this is what I mean, is you put Overwatch on this, you thwart this with your basic for, I guess our basic is only 3. And then we can do also 3 off of Infiltrate AIM Island Embassy. We're also set up to draw Wall Crawl still, which is nice. And we can do Wall Crawl and to clear the area, which would be good. All right, one way or another continues to resolve. So we just draw 3 cards. This card's absurdly good in solo. Get the Scoop, which is our side scheme. There's the Wall Crawl we talked about, and there's Moon Girl. Moon Girl really wants us to jump down to Alter Ego, and this is what I'm saying. Like, we actually have a lot of value. The thing is, all our value is tied down to Alter Ego, because when we jump down to Alter Ego, Moon Girl replaces itself. She's basically free, and we draw 2 more cards with our Alter Ego text. So, like, we are going to draw about 8 extra cards this turn, which, yeah, turns out that's quite good. Okay, so what are we doing here? How do we want to plan this out? So we probably need to play Quick Quip because I think we want the Confuse because our margins are not very, very wide. So Quick Quip is probably something we need to play. We take a damage, we put 2 Confuses, which we can only play 1. So we do waste 1. So whatever. That's fine. We can thwart this. Oh no, we're exhausted. So I don't know why I was thinking we can thwart this for 3. We could just let this chill for a bit if we wanted to. We could Wall Crawl, Infiltrate AIM Island Embassy for 5, and we actually could even clear it this turn. I'm not sure if we're excited to clear this turn, but I think Wall Crawling to do 5 off of AIM Island Embassy is probably the play. That leaves us with mental, ingenuity for mental. So if we want to play these, we can't play everything. So we might actually have to use Moon Girl and hope that we draw mentals from our deck to get the value, because we have to work on this. We definitely have to work on that. So we need more resources, he says, holding like a 7-card hand. We're going to need slightly more resources here. So I think we'll just start by doing Quake into Wall Crawl just to get this going. So it says remove 2 threat from a scheme. I'll do this one. Choose a tuck card underneath her and discard it to remove 3 threat from a scheme. And notably, we have to do this in hero mode, so we can't get more healing from Albert. But that's good. That's a 1 for 5. That's obviously quite good. Okay, the next thing we want to do is play Quick Quip. So I think we just do Quick Quip. So we're going to take a damage and we'll do 1 Confused. This means we can jump down. Not my favorite, but if we're exhausted, upside the head is a bit worse because we can't play it. Okay, we're going to be drawing 2 more cards, which means we have 1 resource left over. This is a wild. This is a mental. So no matter what, I think we have to deal with alert levels slightly. So if that's the case, I'm just going to use the ingenuity to deal with alert level. It just requires us to spend a resource. So this goes down to 2. We will jump down. Here we'll use Albert Moon. Again, just so much value. So we're going to tuck the top card of the deck here. It is our, that's fine, Silk Sense Overload. So this is one of the weird ones that usually doesn't matter because it just says Silk on it. And Silk is not a really actionable card you can interact with. So we're going to discard Silk using our alter ego to do some journalism and draw 2 cards. We're looking for mentals. No mental, no mental. Okay, bummer. That means Moon Girl draws 1 card. That's not great, especially because 1 resource here left over is not phenomenal. So actually pretty, kind of the turn fell apart there. I still think we play Moon Girl and we'll play 1, 2, 3. Oh man, yeah, if we drew a double there would be nice because we can also play Get the Scoop. Maybe we just hold on to Moon Girl and we can play Under Surveillance. Putting Under Surveillance on this is a bit silly, but we could do Under Surveillance, Get the Scoop, and then just like toss Moon Girl. We are decking out this turn, so that kind of stinks. Kind of stinks. So I think we just play Moon Girl, right? Because otherwise we waste so many cards, and we can't interact with this in Alter Ego. But yeah, we're wasting so many cards here. I think we just have to play Moon Girl. So we'll play Moon Girl. We spent 1 wild, which we're going to say is a mental, so we draw strength. Oh, man, that's so bad. Are we going to hold on to the strength in our hand? If we had the strength, this would have been so much easier because we actually could have played 2 cards. Moon Girl's also going to miss the deck cycle, which is kind of unfortunate. So no part of this is good. And I guess we're going to be thwarting for 2. And we'll just get this down to where we can deal with it next turn. She takes 2 consequential. What's in the bottom of our deck? Strength lines up with Organic Webbing pretty well. Lines up with Dazzler pretty well too. Yeah, I think we'll keep the strength in our hand, and there's no reason to shuffle this. We'll just pass. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and counter card. This is where you want to draw the cameras because the cameras are quite nice. The issue is like revealing encounter cards or treacheries when you're in Alter Ego has no impact when it comes to your text. We also can look at our hand next turn and be like, oh, our hand's good enough. And we can just use Albert Moon to recover for 2, which is not bad at all. I'm realizing the upside the head are actually probably like pretty anti-synergistic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Clear the area is perfect. We set that up. And Smooth the Silk is kind of a whatever card. Notably, Smooth the Silk also you can only do in hero mode, which shouldn't be super surprising. She's wearing the suit, but this goes to 4 because of acceleration, confuse. 2 encounter cards. First one, Soldiers of Fortune. So this is from the Batroc set. There's only 5 of these. When revealed, either spend 3 resources or find a mercenary minion and reveal it. If no minion entered play this way, the card gains Surge. So, does our hand have confused in it? It does with Quick Quip. So I'm actually going to use Soldier of Fortune to go grab a minion that has Vulnerable, which I think is Machete. Because then our Quick Quip is not wasted. And I think we are going to play the Quick Quip this turn. So Machete is really cool because it just keeps coming back over and over again unless you can discard Machete. So that seems fine. Rapido. Okay, so we couldn't have been able to find all of them. Rapido's attacks gained ranged and deal indirect. When revealed, deal 1 damage to each character you control. Oh, ooh, ow, ow, my Moon Girl, ow, ow. That sucks. That means alert level gets a counter because it doesn't care what side you're on, right? I'm glad we took 1 threat off of that. Imagine the alarm going off because of Rapido. Hey, Infection. Happy Sunday. How you doing? I feel like I've talked too much on camera already this weekend and my voice is giving out, but hopefully you're well. I haven't had any coffee. Okay. So we're low health. We're facing off 3 minions. We're going to take a damage this turn guaranteed. If we look at our hand, I'm no longer really excited to play Dazzler. We definitely can play Quick Quip, which we're going to deal with Machete and Batroc. We definitely want to play Clear the Area off of Mad Science because it draws a card, so that's good. That leaves us with 3 cards. We, in theory, can recover. Our basic activation is not incredibly useful here, so we could recover for 3, and we could draw 2 more cards, of course, using Albert Moon and our Investigative. So that seems good. We're going to draw another card off Skilled Investigator, so we're going to have a lot of cards, so it shouldn't be hard. The problem with Rapido is that Rapido is attacking for 3, and that's a big number. The only way that we can deal with Rapido is by hitting a swinging web kick, which there's repercussions to that because then we defeat Rapido and alert level goes off. But I think we'll be able to deal with all of it. So we'll use Albert. We'll pin a card. Good luck with the rest of the game. Hey, Wasteland Sniper, thank you. It's getting out of hand, I'll be honest, but I think we can get through it. Hopefully your weekend's good, eh? Embassy Patrol, okay. So we get a Batroc card. I mean, that's fine. That does technically help our defense, so we want to keep that underneath us as long as we can. So if that's the case, I'm going to get rid of an aim soldier because I don't think we actually care about that. We've seen most of the set so far, so we'll just draw 2 cards. We have Quake, and we have Informant, which is nice, but not really actionable here. I think we will recover for 3. We're getting a little bit low, as much as we do have full free recovery, but I think we need to do a big tempo turn here, so I'm going to use all our cards really greedily. Okay, first thing first, we will do Strength into Quick Whip. So we have to take 1 damage, and we'll confuse Machete, and we'll confuse Batroc. When we confuse Machete, it's vulnerable, which means unfortunately, we don't put something on alert level, but we can't tuck it because we didn't defeat it. All right. I feel like I need to blow my nose. What else do we have here? Organic Webbing is nice. It readies us. That card is worth playing for sure. It also gives us a flat stat, which 2 cost flat thwart stat is like totally fine. If we want to do that, I think we'll start with the clear the area off of Mad Science. So there's no shot we're playing Dazzler. We'll do Dazzler into clear the area. So this removes 2 threat from something, and if it clears it, we draw a card. So we're going to draw a card off of this and Skilled Investigator. So Eros, Prof X. Oh, both of those are actually really quite good. Yeah, they were both quite good. So what do I want to do here? Rapido we cannot knock out. It's too difficult. We need to dump a lot of threat into this because like this is just constantly needs to spend resources from hand, which is not particularly fun. I think Organic Webbing is probably the next most important thing we want to play. Holding on to Professor X is like kind of extra because obviously there's a confuse there. We could stun Rapido, which is maybe worth something, but then we can't really play the Organic Webbing and deal with this. So I don't think we obviously play Professor X here. So I'm going to do 1, 2 for Organic Webbing. So this gives us +1 thwart, which is nice. Let alone now we can get a card underneath us out to ready, which is only really good once we start blocking every turn because then Spider Reflexes keeps you liquid, which is good. So I'm not sure that we do that this turn because the only thing we can do is let's do this in the order. We do thwart, attack, defend. We could thwart for 3, which is pretty good, honestly. If we knock out Rapido, we could attack Rapido for 2, which isn't particularly great because he's from Batroc's Brigade set. I don't know why this is. Wait, is this just how the game is? Why does Rapido have... I totally forget how the game works. Remember, you can tuck that scheme. Oh my god, thank you, Serial. What am I doing? Yeah, that's really important. I need to remember to tuck everything. Yeah, very, very important. Thank you. Hey, it's fun watching you play Arkham. Yo, Lucas, unfortunately, we lost power 3 turns in. I was in the dark. My partner was on a treadmill, and we lost power, and she like flew off the treadmill. She was totally fine. But yeah, we lost power last night for a couple hours, which sucks during the first Arkham Horror stream. Every time I see a Persona card, now I get traumatized because I know what's going to happen. I mean, they won't come back. It's nice that there's some high stakes. All right, we have Ingenuity still. That's good. So, okay, what was it trying to say here? I forget what I was going to try to say. Yeah, I think we have to deal with this. I'm okay getting rid of the aim science to ready ourselves. I think we do. I think we do just do that. So we'll use Organic Webbing to ready ourselves. I think it's worth it. We don't really need aim science cards underneath us. We've seen almost all 5 of them. So now we're ready, which is good. We can attack for 3, which doesn't knock out Rapido. We can thwart for 3, which is also fine. I think Rapido is a 2-turn play. Rapido does indirect damage, so actually there's a reason to play Professor X, because with indirect damage, we can put that damage to Professor X and not have to worry about the alert level. The issue is like we lose to so many things, and for what it's worth, if this advances, we don't lose. It's just like not great, because a lot of the encounter cards get a bit worse when we're on the alert side. The other options we can play Eros and us can defeat Rapido, and then we can spend 1 resource on alert level. That's probably better. Yeah, let's do that. Oh no, because then if we get this down and then we defeat Rapido, it goes back up to 3. And then we're really, really scared. If we draw an encounter card that says he attacks, we lose. I think we'll risk, no, because he will attack, guaranteed. Yeah, we can't do it. The alert level is actually keeping us pinned. Yeah, we were close to realization. We can definitely defeat Rapido, but when we defeat Rapido, this goes to 4, Batroc takes it to 5. So for that to be safe, we have to take 2 resources off of this, which is not possible. So I think we just have to, like, we might actually smooth the silk for tempo, which I hate to say this. So I'm going to say Smooth as Silk, choose an enemy or scheme. I'm going to choose Batroc. So discard cards until we find something. Dark Designs, like I don't like doing, oh, hey, we got a security cameras. Wait, never mind, we're the best. That's sick. Don't want that card. All right, Smooth as Silk, best card. We got to tuck it underneath us. So that's good. Then we'll spend 1, 2, 3 just to deal with alert level down to 0. We actually could spend 1 fewer to play Professor X, but it's not super necessary. The big question is how we knock out Rapido. So I think I'm going to spend 1 less and hold on to Eros. So this will be a 1. And then we'll do an attack for 1, 2. That's all we got instead of Rapido because we don't have any Rapido cards. It's actually funny that we might have been able to discard until we find a Batroc's Brigade card and then we could attack Rapido slightly harder, but it doesn't really matter. And we'll pass. That attack at overkill, technically. Or not overkill, piercing. 1, 2. There's a Silk Kick. There's another Silk Kick. Overwatch. Silk Kicks. Man, what is the shuffler doing? That is awful. That is genuinely terrible. All right, this goes to 5. Villain's attacking us. In theory here with 2 cameras out, we can maybe take the risk here. We have 3 cards tucked underneath us. We don't actually need to do this, but the problem is like Batroc is attacking for probably more than Rapido. So we're going to use our Spider Reflexes. I honestly feel like we're sliding backwards, but we've had to spend so much resource on this alert level thing. So it's attacking for 2 and a card. We are blocking for 3, 4, 5. No damage, and then we tuck this underneath us. So we grabbed every single aim science card in the whole damn deck. Rapido's now going to attack us. It's attacking for 3. We just have to take 3. We can't do anything with it. This goes to 2. I hate this card. For each character you control, choose to either exhaust that character or place 1 threat on alert level. So if we're an expert, we have to add 2 threat. So this has to just go to 3. I'm glad we cleared it all the way down because otherwise this would have just been a problem. I'm going to choose to tuck this because I think I'd rather have a lot of Batroc cards than anything else. And I'm just never going to let go of the security cameras. Yeah, there's 1 more security camera, I think, because we have, I probably should just show the titles. Security camera, embassy, 1 security camera in the discard pile, aim soldiers down here. Yeah, great. Okay, this hand is total garbage. It's really quite bad. It is really, really quite bad. We are technically exhausted. Not anymore. Okay, so we have so many problems. Luckily, we will stabilize this turn. I'm going to go ahead and just put an Overwatch here. I honestly don't know why we held on to Eros. We're going to spend 1, 2, 3 resources. This is such a bad turn to clear 3 off of alert level. We will attack for 2 into Rapido, putting 1 on alert level. We'll clear the 1 on alert level. We can tuck Rapido underneath us. We will flip down, and we're just going to take a full off turn with Albert Moon. So we wasted an extra resource there. We'll use Albert Moon here to recover 4. And that's all we got. I didn't like that turn. It did not make me happy. That turn made me unhappy. Just finished leaving my new next evolution box while watching a stream. Time to look at some Cable decks. Cable is so strong. Honestly, one of the strongest characters in the game. I think I'll have a good time. Yeah, Cable is also really, really fun. All right, Smooth as Silk is back, upside the head, so we can get us confused, because we will be ready. J. Jonah might be worth playing. Manifold means we can go grab our side scheme. Never mind. And we have a clear the area, which might line up okay. Good thing about this is like we've set up the Overwatch. So with Overwatch, if we can find a wall crawler, we can like do a big old... Technically, wall crawler doesn't work perfectly with Overwatch because it's technically wall crawl is 2 different instances. So I think either you have to remove... You don't remove 10. I think you end up removing 8, right? Because this is 2, then 3. It's not 2 additional 3, which Overwatch only works on 1 instance of threat removal. So I don't think it works perfectly. All right, we also have 2 more cards, or we can recover for 4, but we'll probably just draw 2 more cards. Goes to 6, confuse. Quiet in terms of alert level. We'll draw the last cameras here. Never mind, we're going to be drawing way more cards than we'd ever wanted to. So Surge, reveal. This is so bad with the cameras when you draw those in the wrong order. Leaping Kick. So Alter Ego Batroc schemes. Didn't know he could do that. So he schemes for a 2 and a card. 1, 2. Boost. Nowhere is safe. Put 1 here. So we're going to 8. Second card. Is this how we're losing? We lose to this? We lose. He puts 7 threat through a confuse. 7 threat through a confused. That adds 4. Yeah, 8 goes to 12, we lose. God, I really don't like this scenario. The amount of resources we spent just doing alert level over and over and over and over again is just not great. It was up to us to drop down, right? Sorry for the backseat? No, not at all. I'm good that we're forgetting to tuck. Did I forget to tuck something this turn? I don't think I did. But we can't tech any of those because we're in alter ego. But yeah, that's wow. Imagine struggling for like 30 minutes and that's the result you get. I feel terrible about that. So what went wrong? So our yellow cards weren't amazing. I'll be honest, we drew really weird on that case, but like we played none of our allies. Admittedly, allies are a fair bit worse against Batroc. The clear the areas just aren't amazing when this has 6 threat on it. Like we want something bigger than that. Quick Quip has been good. We had a really bad cycle with Moon Girl. 3 Overwatches seems like a bit much, and I think it's because we're not playing enough another one way or another, which is like the only way to make that consistently quite good. Batroc is kind of wicked. I haven't like the problem is like the games that I lose to Batroc are like just ridiculous rips off of encounter decks. The sort of thing where like you're in hero mode, you have 1 threat here, he attacks, it goes to 2, he draws Surge that makes him do 2 attacks into camera, and then you just lose on the spot. Like the ways that you lose to Batroc and solo are not because of his tech. Like it's the unfair stuff. It's not the stuff that like is the stuff that you're like actively able to play around. The bottom of our deck was pretty good here. Under Surveillance was something that we could have played a turn ago, 2 turns ago, and we didn't. So that's on us to some extent. Our setup was okay. This is also the weird thing to some extent that like it's hard to evaluate. It's like if we spend 2 resources on Quick Quip just so that we can jump down and draw 2 cards, is that actually forward tempo? And I think it is because functionally you're drawing 2 more cards on the following turn. So you're technically drawing 2 more cards this turn, and then you're drawing 3 more cards the next turn with Albert Moon. We got Albert Moon on turn 1, which is really, really, really quite good. But yeah, that didn't no part of that felt good. We are so dependent on us being ready that if we're defending against Batroc, we don't really progress the board. And the cards that we added to this deck are not like very board progressing cards, right? Like Overwatch does not progress the board massively. Quick Quip does not progress the board, right? And so like we have to be constantly ready, but you can't really chump block with allies in this scenario convincingly. There's a chance that this deck is just flawed into this, but I think we're gonna give it another shot. Yeah, that did not feel good. And like, this is how long we were spending doing our things. This is how many cards are left in the deck. Like we were about to get an acceleration and we were functionally still basically the exact same setup as the turn we started. Like literally we were meant to be on 6 threat there, which is like the game just began. And somehow we went through like so many encounter cards. Weird. Yeah, really weird. There's some unlucky encounter cards for solo. I think Batroc is just like has very, very rough balance for solo. Yeah. All right, we're running back. So 12 health in Batroc. We have to put 1 counter, I think, on infiltrate aim. Embassy says put, I think, just 1 counter. Oh, 2 counters. Okay. Worth throwing in Spider-Man in the team-up card. Yeah, Scott, what I wanted to do at the beginning of today is specifically not play any of the Web Warrior stuff. Because every time that I play a Web Warrior character, you end up like very, very quickly deep in the Web Warrior synergy package. Let alone, yeah, her investigative journalism makes a lot of sense for this deck. I feel like Spider-Man, it's a lot easier to play when you're also playing that card that grabs them from your discard pile. And then you end up playing like, oh, why not just play, Ticket to Multiverse? And why don't you play this other card too? Or whatever their names are. And all of those are like, a lot. And then your deck becomes a Web Warrior deck, you know what I mean? But you're right, like our investigative journalist card is so good. And it like really helps to do what we want to be doing. So we probably should play it. Let alone Peter Parker keeps you ready, which is really good for Silk because Silk's basic activations are how she does stuff. So I think you're right. Like we should probably just like, give up on that and at least play Peter, because I think you're right. Peter is like so important in the deck because it keeps you ready and allows you to play this card. And this card is exactly what we're trying to do, not only mechanically, but thematically. Yeah. Yeah, we're trying to be a journalist deck and like we don't even play this card. So I think we will add that in. All right, we're being asked to talk about the news. I think we will. Give us a little bit of a breather so Batroc doesn't bum me out too much. But if you don't know, Let's take a big sip of coffee. The article has come out to talk about the upcoming set, Fear No Evil, which is coming out, I believe, on July 26th. We haven't really done this before on the channel, so we're going to read through the article. At this point, we're a couple days late, so you probably know the article, but at least I can tell you my thoughts if you think those are interesting. I guess that's the point of content. But yeah, I guess we'll read through the article and we'll come back and deal with Batroc after making some small changes. So one of these buttons should do it. All right, this is the Arkham Horror stuff. That's not it, but you can check out Velma's Diner, link in the description. Welcome to Fear No Evil. So this dropped on Thursday, which we were expecting. I'm not going to be able to pull up any intelligent cards on the left here because all the cards are in the article. So I salute your moral code, so easy to fall into easy builds. It's not only easy builds, it's boring. And like for someone making content, you have to make sure things aren't boring, but I was getting bored myself. Where it's like, okay, put this in and then this in and play SPDR and then do this. And it's like, then those cards become so much more interesting and relevant than the silk cards, let alone your hero cards. So, oh, fuck. Excuse me, I just spilled coffee all over Batroc. Oh no, that's really quite bad. Give me 1 second. It's bad out here. Oh, it's so bad. It could be worse. Could be worse. I mean, Batroc is already functionally a brown card, right? The sleeves are holding up pretty well. This was just like black coffee, so there's no like sugar or milk or anything that would make this worse than just pouring water on it. Oh, the card is wet. That sucks. Yeah, exactly. If any card should have brown stains, it's Batroc. You can't tell. Yeah, it's clearly damaged. Feels bad, man. This is a card that gets used a fair bit, but it actually doesn't matter. But it shows up on camera a lot, which sucks. Is it wet? Yeah, it's wet. I should have pulled these out of the sleeves faster. That seems okay. Seems okay. Yeah, when I pulled up the web browser, it's like I can't see the screen, the table anymore because it's behind the web browser, and just absolutely biffed into the coffee. Yeah, shit. I'm like so precious about my cards and taking care of stuff that like damaged cards really does hurt. And they're hard to replace, right? You can't buy singles. Oh yeah, they're warping pretty bad. Pursued by the Past is not in good shape. Whatever. Can't cry over spilled milk or whatever. Okay. Let's just clean this up real quickly. Take your time. Yeah, my tapper, how's it going? Imagine doing that on the whole table though when you're playing the game. At least it was between games. Like 3 cards is not bad. a bad penalty. Christian, thanks so much. Here's a little support for new cards. I mean, I'm not gonna buy a box of Batroc to replace this, but Pursued by the Past, that's a hard card to replace, right? At least you don't need to shuffle it in. Thank you. That's very kind. Yeah, these don't get shuffled in, which is fine. So that's okay. But yeah, this is like, it's not good. Maybe this is me being precious. But yeah, it's definitely a bit goofed up. I mean, they survived. They're well loved. Oh god, yeah, that looks awful. Yeah, they're kind of goofed. Feels bad. That's okay. Thank you, Christian. Not a proper live stream with that spilled drink. We've been pretty good. It's just like we pulled the camera up. I need to drink the coffee faster, I'll be honest. Like it's just been sitting there. Yeah, the more I'm touching this, the worse I'm making it. So I'm just going to let these dry. I'll put them in the window. It looks like Batroc might be retired for a bit. Actually, we don't need any of these cards. So we can still... No, we need Batroc, it turns out. All right. Give me 1 second. I need to clean the floor. All right, we made it. Could have been worse. Could have been a lot worse. It's called Kingdom Come Cards. They sell singles? No way. No shot. Am I going to be the only person in the world to buy a Batroc single? I can't be a hot commodity. I'm assuming they're American, right? Do you guys got Batrocs? I'm looking for Batrocs. Are you serious? Batrocs? That's what you want? Hey, Matthew. Just joined the stream. You were gone. I just knocked over a full glass of coffee onto some cards. Turns out only 3 cards got. I feel like I should have taken out of the sleeve faster and they would have been probably a bit better. He's on there for like $3 American. Am I paying $3 American for Batroc? And then shipping? Yeah, actually, maybe I will. That's really funny. Okay, I'll check that out. Thank you. All right, so catch my breath. Now I'll bring an even bigger mug of water to spill. All right, here we were. So this article, thanks for your patience. This article dropped on Thursday and it talks about the upcoming expansion that's coming out. I believe Asmodee says the 26th of July. So it is a ways away. It feels like time is passing relatively quickly recently. So we'll see there. Crime is on the rise and with it our profits from Kingpin. So we're going to read through this. There's actually a lot of interesting stuff in the articles as opposed to just the card reveals. So everyone knows the Avengers and how they save the world in the regular. But for every cosmic tyrant threatening the planet, there are 6 superpowered criminals threatening the streets. 6. In these day-to-day villains, it's these day-to-day villains that most often endanger the people, especially when they organize beneath a powerful ringleader. To take on such a dastardly team of criminals, the city needs a team of fearless defenders, capital D. FFG is thrilled to announce Fear No Evil, the next campaign expansion for Marvel Champions, the card game. Taking place on the streets of New York City, this campaign sees our heroes take on the city's superpowered criminal underbelly, resolving various crises as they work up to face-to-face confrontation with the man behind it all. This expansion stands out from its peers by having 6 scenarios instead of the usual 5. This is the first time for Marvel Champions. And not only that, but 5 of these scenarios can be mixed and matched with different villains from the box to create a unique experience with each playthrough. I'll be really honest. When I first read this, I was reading this top to bottom and I read that sentence and my response was, no. I was so not excited to read that from coming off of Civil War when we had a lot of modularity. And I'll be honest, modularity is something that is used very actively as like, a marketing point. Like, why have 5 scenarios when you could mathematically have like, 5 factorial scenarios? Like here's, you could have 70 scenarios or whatever the number comes out to be. The 6 scenarios learned from that Arkham. That's really funny. This is actually way longer than an Arkham campaign. The reason why, and this is like the same thing behind a lot of things like Keyforge and other games like that. And those games are still good. I've enjoyed Keyforge. But the idea of like modularity, that you can have something unique, that there's like thousands of possible outcomes. I don't care. I want one outcome that's good, right? Like I will play Apocalypse 100 times more than I will play some random elements that I can randomly mix together 100 different times. You know what I mean? Like there's something cool to that. And there's a lot of people that it speaks to, but it's these sort of like, video games too, where it's like there's thousands of modular weapons you can find. I don't need 1,000 weapons. I need 2 that are interesting. Like make a good shotgun, and that's all I want, right? Like Fantasy Flight Games is really good at making bespoke, interesting scenarios with moving pieces that are high on theme and mechanics that are just well tuned, because it's easy to tune one thing. It's much harder to tune modular pieces. Not saying that I don't enjoy roguelites that fundamentally have modular pieces, but I just want to say when I read that, I was upset. Now, I can very happily say the more you read this article, it doesn't look like it's going to be the sort of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff, or sorry, Civil War stuff that I don't like. It looks like they did actually quite genuinely a cool job. And a lot of the criticisms I have about Civil War are not here, where the modulars that you can choose to attach to your villains are actually very interesting bespoke pieces that have way more parts to it than just being like, how Civil War was. Like, this is a scenario. The main scheme just says the villain has guard, or sorry, the minions have guard. Congratulations, you can combine that with all 6 leaders and have 17 different it's like, no, that these look much more interesting. So my negativity about that did not last long through the read of this article, but I do want to say that I'm much more a proponent of give me one good, interesting thing more than give me 100 variable things, of which maybe 3 of them are actually worth playing. Anyways, all right, where were we? Like past campaign expansions, each of these scenarios can be played individually or in variable order as part of a larger campaign. That's also sick. Campaign mode is a big thing I like in these boxes, and I am pretty sure how we're going to see it is going to be cool, where you'll see how this box works, where there's going to be 5 main sub villains and then 1 final villain, and there's going to be 5 main sub main schemes. And the idea is that you probably have to either do a prescribed path, or you can choose a path where it's like, I'm going to do this character with this main scheme, which means then I have to do every other character with every other main scheme, and then you can pick a path. That sounds actually kind of interesting. It kind of feels more like Mojoverse, where like Mojoverse is when you play the Mojoverse campaign, you had to play every single channel. And so you technically could make decisions to be like, I want to play this channel against Spiral because it would be better than playing this channel in the final scenario versus Mojo. Like I'm into that. That actually sounds interesting. This box also kicks off a new wave of playable heroes for the game, beginning with Echo and the long-awaited Daredevil, both of whom come with fully pre-built and ready to play decks from the get-go. Of course they do. Today we're providing a first look at the scenario content for this expansion. We'll go over the heroes in their own dedicated previews in the near future. I believe last time they did this, the scenario stuff came out first, and then it was like 2 or 3 weeks before we start to see stuff from the villains, but it's usually, from the heroes. It's usually not that far behind. There's a lot to cover for this box, so without any further ado, let's take a look at the story of Fear No Evil. Kill my hype too, man. I'd also good focus scenario rather than randomize all your way. Yeah, and for what it's worth, I'm not too bummed out about this box. That actually looked kind of sick. Glad to see you after the light that was Velma's Diner. Hey, Christopher, welcome back. We lost power last night, so apologies for that, but the stream was cut really short. So 6 villains, and the first 5 villains are these 5 villains. This article is going to be talking about 2 of them. Now, I know a bit about a couple of these villains. So at the top, that's Electro. I'm not sure about this version of Electro. I'm usually more familiar with the classic Electro that shows up in like Sinister 6, but I don't know who she is. There's Bullseye. Bullseye is a sort of hitman assassin that is just really good at hitting things with things. We do hear about Bullseye. On the left, that's Typhoid Mary. I'm not 100% sure who she is. I know she has like split personalities and she uses swords. She shows up on some of the key art above. Bottom right corner, that is Hammerhead, who is a villain I know from Spider-Man, who I don't actually know goes further than Spider-Man, but he's basically like a mafia crime boss. I don't know who the person is around his shoulders are, but like Hammerhead to me is like very Spidey coded. And actually a fair bit of this box for none of the villains, or sorry, none of the heroes being spider heroes, web warrior heroes. There is a lot of characters that I know from Spider-Verse stuff, which is like pretty sick. And then in the bottom is a character that you might know more of than I do. He's referred to as Purple Man. I think technically is Killgrave. I think this shows up in some of the shows, so people might know who this character is. I believe this person has like mind control, or can basically force people to do things through will alone. I want to shout out that I looked up in this character, and this character is canonically Yugoslavian, which is hilarious. This character is from Croatia. My family immigrated from former Yugoslavia. We are Slovenians, but a Yugoslavian character, admittedly a villain, which is like, that's what you do with Eastern European characters nowadays, as much as actually Yugoslavia is not Eastern European, but most people think it is. Anyways, that's fine. Killgrave is on the show, yeah. I'm assuming he's that purple. I think there was some sort of chemical accident, but his skin is purple and he can control people by doing what's it called? Where you You say things and people just do it anyways. There's a word for that. It's fine. But yeah, anyways, he's a Croat, which is like good fun. The story of this expansion sees the rise of a new crime spree in New York City, orchestrated by Kingpin and carried out by the 5 of his greatest underlings: Bullseye, Electro, Hammerhead, Purple Man, and Typhoid Mary. As you may have guessed, each of these 5 underlings can be fought as standalone villains, and each of them is deadly in their own right. Oh, by the way, for Hammerhead, he has a metal plate in his skull and he headbutts things. Yeah, spider characters were cool back in the day, I guess. This is Bullseye. Terrible stats: 0 scheme, 1 attack, 14 health. I'm assuming side B is 17 health, side 3 is probably like 20, 21 health. Take Bullseye, for example. His bloodthirsty assassin adds an extra boost icon to every card in his deck, making his attacks a bit stronger and his schemes a bit trickier than you would normally expect. So this is very like claw-like, which is interesting. It's also fun that he's like physically throwing cards at you, I guess. When revealed, sets a card aside out of play that will come back on the second side, and that set aside card is actually fascinating. And it says force interrupt when Bullseye activates, and not just attacks, which makes him different than Claw. Each of his boost cards gains additional boost. If this activation is an attack, it gains ranged. So actually, notably, he doesn't reveal extra boost cards. It's just each of his boost cards get a bigger kick. So now he schemes for somewhere between 1 and 4. As long as he's not revealing extra boost cards, it's kind of the same that if he just had 1 scheme, 2 attack. But if he reveals extra boost cards, then it's like he has base 2 scheme, 3 attack. So that actually can be pretty rude if he does throw out multiple cards, which I think he can. I also think all the cards that we've seen spoiled from Bullseye, a lot of the cards have really big boost icons, like very, very big boost icons. We've seen a lot of 3 boost icons, and I think this is the first set that we see 3 boost icons plus a star, which we haven't classically seen that before, but they're not uncommon from what the cards they've spoiled. This, of course, stacks with Amplify icons for Deranged Bloodlust. So Amplify is not an additional card, it's just plus more boost. And then this is Deranged Bloodlust. When revealed, place an additional threat here equal to the Bullseye stage number. I love to see this too. This is something you've probably heard me talk about a lot. But one of the quirks of this game is that usually the harder or the longer the game goes, the easier it gets. There's not many scenarios that have balancing that gets more difficult the later the scenario is, which is what the game should be doing technically. But usually the first turns are the hardest. Those are the turns where like Surge, draw 3 counter cards when you're playing against Green Goblin, and then from that point on it just gets easier because Green Goblin doesn't scale. We've seen a lot more interesting designs like Enchantress, where the game gets more difficult alongside your development as a player on the board. And Deranged Bloodlust is minor, but it is a nice way that it's modular difficulty for standard versus expert, let alone early game versus late game. As much as 1 threat is not a big deal, but that's cool. I like this design, and it seems like we're seeing a bit more of it. I think that's important. It gives even nastier with cards that already have several boost icons on their own, such as Unerring Desire. This is what I mean. We haven't ever seen this boost pattern before. We have seen some cards that just have 4 natural boost. They're very rare, but 3 in a star is like totally new technology here. So Unerring Desire, when revealed, choose to either give this card to the villain as a face-down boost card, which is the bad one, or remove a persona support you control from the game. Now, persona supports are not incredibly common. There's a lot of characters which you'll just have to do the boost text anyways, and then just put something in front of it. The boost says, though, if this is activation is an attack, it gains overkill. That's a terrifying card. That is really, really scary, because no matter what, he's going to be attacking for at least 5, and it's going to have overkill, let alone this will be an additional boost card, because if there's a boost card face down, you don't just draw that boost card, you always give the villain a boost card when they activate, let alone they could scheme. That's just like a hard choice. In fact, if you have a persona, I'd rather sell a persona, like sell your J. Jonah Jameson to this thing. And this answers a couple questions, because there's always this like weird thematic thing when you put your allies in front of the villain's attack and they get discarded. Are they defeated? No, because they can come back. So it seems like they were actually like just like knocked out for a second and then they come back later in the fight. But Bullseye can actually remove cards from the game. It's nice though, because it looks like the removal isn't super random. I know people were frustrated from Space Pirates that can just remove cards from the top of your deck. People didn't like that. I get that. But this is much more interesting, and it gives a lot more weight and a lot of permanence, and things will die. People will die. I do want to say that theme is fantastic. It's a bit dark, but it's really, really cool to have high stakes fight against Bullseye. I also want to say it just like as a Spike gamer slightly, removing your cards from the game is not the worst thing you can do. Deck thinning can be good. I'll just say that. Ooh, deck thinning. In a lot of card games, I'd be like, yeah, please remove this from the game. If your persona isn't good, you can remove it from the game, which thins your deck. As much as if it's on the table, your deck is already thinned anyways. Don't worry about it anyways. But like, this is a rude text. I'm assuming this will be one of his marquee cards. You may have noticed an additional effect on the last card. If you choose not to give Unerring Desire to Bullseye as a boost card, you are forced to remove one of your persona supports from the game. Bullseye is an assassin after all, and he knows how to hit his enemy where it hurts most, their friends and family. Like, that's really quite dark. Unerring Desire is bad enough, but Bullseye can take the step further and then go after your allies with Raise the Stakes, So similarly, 3 boost is attached to Bullseye. When Bullseye attacks, give him 1 additional boost card for the attack. If the attack defeats a friendly character, remove that character from the game. Otherwise, shuffle this into the counter deck. We've seen a lot of art from the set from Joey Vasquez. I really like Joey Vasquez's art. We've seen some Guido Bonos and Vasquez's. It's the sort of like mix between, you know, kind of kid friendly, but also like bright colors. This card is frightening. Raise the Stakes is a really good name for this too. And yeah, your allies will probably be removed from the game when this shows up. And you just have to be able to win the game without them, which is not the highest ask. It's also really cool that this is nice tech to stop you from chump blocking with Prof X or Nick Fury, because they won't be coming back, which is kind of funny from my understanding. Really cool. And I want to say the theme for this one, like a lot of villains don't feel villainous. I want to say from what we've seen so far from this character, seems dastardly. Like this character wants to kill your friends. Like legitimately heavy theme, of course it is. But like when I'm playing against Unis, and okay, the undertone of Unis is a bit of taking over the world in a terrible way. Like, yeah, the stakes should be high, but Unis does not feel like a villain. I would say Claw feels like a villain. Ultron just feels like he's building some stuff up. But you know what I mean? Like this actually does feel like, oh God, this guy is a problem and you have to deal with it appropriately. I like that a lot. Also, you have Incessant Pursuit. Attached to an ally. Oh, this card's really sick. So attached to an ally without an Incessant Pursuit attached. So there's multiple of these in the deck. Otherwise, this card gains Surge. And then when the villain would attack you, it instead attacks the attached ally instead, gaining Overkill. And if it defeats the attached ally, remove this from the game. And what's really wild is that there's no way to remove this. The only way to get this off of your ally is by playing a 4th ally and discarding an ally. Because you can discard an ally if you play an ally that puts you over ally limit. But otherwise, you're going to be constantly attacked into that ally over and over again. That ally is basically as good as dead, unless you want to constantly block for them, which you can with another ally, or you can discard that ally through Consequential or by overinstalling, which like that's neat. And I think Consequential is probably actually going to be way more likely, but very, very, very cool card design. Gradually winning down your forces until it's just you and him. I love that sentence. At some point, if you go to the long game and I would say seemingly mismanage, the deck will just be you and the assassin. And it's so cool that the assassin is like darting up and defeating all your friends until finally it's just a one-on-one encounter and you cannot run away. At that point, though, a bunch of these cards will be useless, but at least they have Surge. Bullseye isn't even an all offense either. After revealing Bullseye stage 2, he gains access to his adamantium laced spine. This card has 2 sides, and then you have to either rely on multiple small hits to get everything through him or big hits. I'll show you this card because this will probably start, I'm assuming, on Expert. Maybe this is the sort of design where they do it kind of like Civil War, where you actually get 4 villains in the box. You get Bullseye 1 and 2, and then Bullseye 3 and 4. I would be okay with that, I think, because technically if you're playing on Expert, it seems like Bullseye will always start with the adamantium laced spine into play. I'm not sure if that's something they want, or they want the complexity to ramp up as soon as you advance. I could see this going either way. And I'll be honest, the 1 to 4 villain cards that they printed in Civil War were actually like a pretty cool idea. Now, this is permanent. It says when Bullseye would take damage, prevent all but 3. So if you do 4 damage, he only takes 3. Place that damage prevented here. Then if there's 6 more damage here, flip this card. That sucks. Like imagine swinging Web Kick and wasting 5 damage. And at the end of the day, for this to flip over to stop this effect and only stop it for a while, you have to waste 6 damage. Now, you could think of that like putting 6 damage on this, like that is like a minion that has text and you're defeating the minion. Like that probably feels emotionally better. We have a bunch of upgrades that show up that say like this blocks the next 5 damage plus because over damage technically breaks it and all at the same time. But that's a lot of wasted damage, as much as like Bullseye technically doesn't have a lot of health. So maybe that's a good balance. When it's flipped over its damage spine, it says after Bullseye schemes, remove 3 damage from here and it'll keep the damage from when it flips. So more damage is better, kind of like hitting the bell tower. Then if there's no damage here, flip the card back. I like this so much. Like these are the sort of cards that you play around. Like how you play and evaluate cards in the matchup really are very dependent. It forces you off a certain strategy. It forces you to play in a different way. It gives you levers where it's like, okay, now I don't want to jump down because jumping down means that he'll go get medical help and I don't want that to happen. Like very, very cool. A lot of interaction points. Reminds me in some ways of the helmet you put on or off of Juggernaut. Sick. Really, really cool. I'm into this. So far, everything we've seen in this article has been pretty great. I think this is a really cool design. I think Electro is less interesting immediately. I don't know who this character is, and that might like not help. But Electro is a 1/1. She has slightly more health on 15. It says when revealed, find electric charge attached to Electro and place 2 charge counters on it. So it kind of just works out the same, similarly to things we've seen before, like Spider-Woman or Captain Marvel. This sort of thing where they start with a permanent upgrade that gets charges and uses charges. It's like it's a well-trod design, I guess. Force response after Electro schemes, you place a charge counter on Electro charge, and her stats are really low. So we're assuming that her heavy hitting has to do something with electric charge. Bullseye is already a tough customer, and now he's just one of 5 underlings on Kingspin payroll. Francine Fry, also known as Electro, is another one of those underlings, and her dangerous electrical power are only matched by her explosive temper. She begins the game with electric charge in play, stacking 2 per player charge counters on it to represent initial electrical buildup. Electro gains additional boost cards on her attacks by spending charge counters from this attachment, and she adds additional charge counters whenever she schemes with her charging up a side scheme is defeated. So this is electrical charge, so this is permanent. It says when Electro attacks, remove a charge counter, give Electro an additional boost card for this attack, and attack gains overkill. Okay, that is actually pretty good text, because she only has 1 stat. She's not scary, but when she's 1 stat, 2 boost overkill, and notably overkill we were seeing on a lot of cards so far, it really disincentivizes you from chump blocking, which classically has been a concern with this game, where allies are obviously like the best card in the game by a mile, and this is a big reason. Now, as a hero action, you can spend an energy resource or 2 other resources to remove a charge counter. I think you do want to do that relatively quickly, because that just, like, I don't know if this is going to feel like the silly Batroc thing, but at the end of the day, yeah, I want to spend charge counters on this because that gets you 1 fewer boost card, let alone removes overkill. Seems like a good use of resources, especially if you have those energy resources to boot. I think those counters are going to come back somewhat consistently, and maybe this becomes a bit of a slog. I can't tell, but it does seem like a very good proposition. Now, charging up does not start in play, but if this shows up, it's 6, which is pretty big. It has an amplify, which really sucks when she's revealing extra cards, because amplify amplifies multiple encounter cards, or sorry, multiple boost cards. But when defeated, you place 3 charge counters on electric charge, which functionally means 3 more resources from you. Pay up, buddy. This seems fine. It doesn't seem anywhere near as interesting as Bullseye, but it's like, it's the numbers are going to get big, I reckon. Thankfully, the heroes are able to remove charge counters from electric charge at the cost of a few resources, and this is definitely something you'll want to do. Dealing with extra boot cards is already bad enough, but if you aren't careful, Electro can devastate your entire team with a burst of chain lightning. This is a really interesting card. I love cards like this that give you choices on how they resolve. Art's also fantastic. When revealed, for each character you control, either exhaust that character, which I've complained about that in Batroc. Sometimes that's not a choice. Otherwise, deal 1 damage to the character. However, deal 3 damage instead if there are any number of charge counters on electric charge. Remove 1 charge counter from electric charge. So at least it's nice that it spends it. The difference between taking 1 damage to an ally and 3 damage to an ally obviously is massive, let alone to your own face. And so far from what we're seeing, it just seems like the only right play is to remove every single charge counter from here on every turn, because that's a huge difference. Like spending 1 energy resource to heal 2 functionally off of this, let alone to not get an extra boost card. I don't know. Electro doesn't seem that interesting. It just seems like spend the charge counters, because it'd be silly not to. The most efficient way to clear charge counters is through the use of printed energy resources, but holding on to too many of those in your hand can cause you to be susceptible to energy overload. If you have no cards with a printed energy resource in your hand, this gains surge. Otherwise, if you're Wonder Man, you die. Otherwise, for each card with a printed energy resource in your hand, either discard that card or stun a character you control. Yeah, and Chad is calling out Wonder Man versus Electro with Zax will be wild. I played, Wonder Man versus Zax. It was a good time, honestly, as much as there's some explosive turns. Against most people, this will just discard a card. You could stun yourself if you want. Notably, if you have multiple energy cards, you can't stun yourself twice unless you're steady, because you can't stun a stunned character. So you are just going to be losing cards from hand. I mean, this one you can't interact with. You just have to hope you have no energy cards. I don't know what to say. Even if she can't punish you directly for negating her charge, Electro can always leave your upgrades drained for power, forcing you to make a hard decision on whether you're spending your extra resources. This card's really hard to deal with, from I remember reading it. Drained of power, you get to see Ironheart there, uses 3 drain counters, attach your identity and exhaust each upgrade you control. That's really bad text. There's a bunch of characters where that ability is like nearly game losing, especially like Silk, where you need your upgrades to do things, let alone ready yourself. Imagine playing SPDR, or I guess Ironheart too, but SPDR really, right? When an upgrade you control would ready, you either may spend an energy resource or 2 resources of any type. If you do, remove a drain counter. Otherwise, that upgrade does not ready. That sucks. This is just going to brick entire turn cycles if you draw it at the bad time. Where like if you don't have energy resources in your hand, not only are you stuck, but then next turn you're stuck as well. Because this just prevents your upgrades from readying, and the cost of that is going to be dumping your whole hand. Now, you do have 5 cards in your hand, so you can always like brute force your way through most of it, but there might be some turns where it's actually correct, because the only way to get rid of this is functionally to spend 3 to 6 resources, and you might just not be a functional hero into that point. So there might be some turns where you just do pass after doing a basic attack, and then just dump 5 cards and then get this cleared. This is like Arkham Horror-esque, where it's like a lot of actions just to deal with a single encounter card. This feels really, really rough. That's all we've seen so far from Electro. she doesn't seem that interesting to me. It just seems like you have to remove counters. The article even says even if she can't punish you directly for negating her charge, which I'm like surprised about that. I'm assuming there would be cards that actually negate or like they do actively punish you for doing the thing you should do. But a lot of these cards you just can't interact with. Like you don't make any good decisions with energy overload. Sort of. That's maybe not true, but you definitely don't make any good decisions here. Maybe you do, but I just think it's going to blow you out. Shoot on Kingsman, Thunderbolt's team, deep cut. Oh, cool. Anyways, yeah, this one, whatever. The other ones looked really good. And now this is where things get really interesting, because Crime Spree. By now, some of you have noticed that we've yet to reveal a main scheme for each of these villains. That's because none of them actually have a main scheme of their own. In fact, none of the underling villains in the box, of which there are 5, do. Instead, each of these scenarios in this expansion, with exception of the final scenario, which has a main scheme, exists independently of the villains, and you can mix and match them to your heart's content. So the idea is that we have 5, I believe, of these main schemes that all seem to have really good flavor, and they all kind of represent this sort of like street level crime hijinks that you get up to. So like one of them is a car chase, the other one is like fights in different areas, one of them is a breakout from jail, and they look really cool. Like this is the upside and the downside. Firstly, Civil War, we've talked about it a lot, not my favorite box. And a big part is that those main schemes that you shuffle together to build that random encounter set, they lack flavor. And that's because there's no interaction between them and the encounter cards that they come with, because they don't come with any encounter cards. Some of them are better than that. Like the ones that care about pro registration stuff might have registration stuff in the encounter deck if you're lucky, and those could interact well together. But it's the minority of cases, and most of the main schemes just say like spawn a minion, get guard, as opposed to active text like the getaway, which really emphasizes or really carves out not only the entire mechanics of the game, but the theme of the game. And having your entire game be a car chase is so much more interesting than saying all minions have guard. So that's really, really good. Now, this is actually going to be putting a lot of effort or putting a lot of work on the villains, because not having a main scheme that interacts with the villain, that actually does suck. Like that is not my favorite thing about this. Like the getaway in theory could have been like a permanent side scheme, and you could have built the whole thing about that, and you could have technically still given a main scheme to Electro or a main scheme to Bullseye. Luckily Bullseye looks like it's going to have more cards. Civil War villains only had like functionally 7 cards, 8 cards in the deck. It looks like there's 14 Bullseye cards, and that does not include main schemes, so that should be more cards in the counter deck overall, as much as some of these are permanent. So there should be more Bullseye cards coming up per card, which was also one of my complaints when you play at least non-PvP Civil War cards, because there's just not a lot of cards in the deck. But yeah, now it's like really important that all the villains are way more impactful, and their cards have to be more self-synergistic, because you're just going to lack self-synergy when it comes to the main schemes. Now, the upside, it'll be maybe radically different playing Bullseye against a car chase versus Bullseye versus a prison break. And those actually might be appreciably different, the way that a lot of main schemes in Civil War weren't appreciably different. So there's some upsides to that. But one of the best things about this game is when the main scheme is in synergy, it's in lockstep in an interesting way with the villain. And we might not have that. So well, hopefully we do. So far, everything we've seen has looked actually pretty great. So this is the first one. It's called The Getaway. I do want to say it seems like all the main schemes have this blue bordered box to them. So like the Getaway has a blue bordered box. The Raft Breakout has a blue bordered box. I wish these were color coded. I was trying to think about this, but like Batroc's Brigade has the same blue box. Like, is that just the generic cover color for encounter sets? That was one of my downsides of Civil War, is that almost like every registration card had the same colored box, and I just like it when they don't, so that you can really tell, oh, this is a getaway card, which shouldn't be a big struggle because that's the one with motorcycles on them. But yeah, I just wish that these were different colors. I love the color of the frames. So far, this just seems to be for villain cards and hero cards. I don't think side schemes have, like, do side sets actually have their own box colors? I don't know if they do. I really like the idea of threat being used as a chase mechanic. Yeah, it's very, very cool. We've seen some really good chase scenarios. Shout out if you ever played Innsmouth in what's called in Arkham Horror, has a really good chase scenario. Like card chases, FFG's been classically very good at them. So how this works, it's mechanically, it's difficult to explain. This comes in with 2 threat, and it adds 2 per player per turn, which is a lot. And it only has a 9 per player limit, which is actually like pretty low. However, whenever you do damage to the villain, you have to take threat off of the main scheme. And when you take all threat off the main scheme, you go from them being out front, which is where this starts. So again, it says attached to the villain. If there's no threat on the main scheme, you're forced to flip this. Attached villain gains ranged, which is fun because they're kind of attacking you from the car, kind of a block away that you're chasing. But it says when the villain would be dealt damage, you have to remove the amount of threat from the main scheme again. So if you can't catch up with the villain, all you're doing is stopping threat from piling up, which is a really cool theme. So it means that damage decks will be threat decks will still be threat decks, but you can only do damage once you catch up. And once you catch up, you get to, where is it? Alongside. Firstly, the text on this is just really fun. Each player takes 1 indirect and the villain takes 2 per player damage. So you do kind of get in that scuffle. Eventually this will kill the villain as much as it will hurt you. The problem is like you eventually they'll pass you, right? Because how this works is when the round ends, if there is no threat, if there is a threat here, you have to place 1 speed counter. And if there is threat here, when the round ends, they kind of speed away, and then they're sort of stuck out front. Right? So the idea is your attacks when you're behind help you catch up, but your attacks when you're alongside them don't help you catch up. They actually push you further back, and you need to make sure you're clearing 2 threat every turn, because if you don't clear 2 threat every turn, that's when the gap gets between you, and then you have to do the whole cycle again. Notably, these speed counters, the article says they have no impact when it comes to this main scheme directly. However, there's a whole bunch of encounter cards that will reference the speed counters, and it seems like just getting at a higher and higher and higher speed will eventually cost you the game, because having a speed, like doing a car chase through New York City at like 200 kilometers per hour is a disaster, and it will be a disaster. And it's cool how they make those mechanics work. This is so cool. Like, this is generally interesting and fun and mechanically dense, and like dense in terms of the theme. Like, this is awesome. This is like what you want from main schemes. And it is cool that a scheme like this is modular enough that you can get a car chase against any of the 5 underlings, and hopefully their mechanics interact with this as well. Like, I was upset when I read the first article, and then I saw like, wait, actually you're making good main schemes that seemingly rival in mechanics and flavor some of the best main scheme synergies that we've seen in all of Marvel Champions. So like, so far, actually pretty sick. Just to show you these cards, there are these modular cards that are pretty straightforward. So they all say, when revealed, for each speed counter, make a bad decision. Either spend 1 resource or place 1 threat on the main scheme. That's obviously a disaster if this gets out of control. And this is like exhaust a character, take 1 indirect damage, which means you have to protect the pedestrians again. Driving at high speed is an issue. So yeah, there's going to be some times where this is easy, where you just are always alongside them. You're always able to threat too. It kind of feels like mechanically it might play out like Red Skull, where when you play against Red Skull and you're just able to remove the side scheme every turn, Red Skull's not very threatening. But if you're not good at threatening 2 every turn off of the getaway, let alone whatever the other encounter cards do, which I'm assuming 1 counter card will just push them ahead, like you can't stay alongside them all the time, then this might be a disaster, because it's hard, as much as it's easy to catch up, it's hard to stay alongside them. Theme, mechanics, 10 out of 10. This looks awesome. Super excited for them. Really good option to start with this one, which is great. Next, Protection Racket. This is like so good in terms of the theme of this set, of like very much getting into a fist fight in a laundromat, breaking through the wall, ending up in a pawn shop. Like, this is phenomenal. This is what everyone wanted. Notably, they show you the back of this main scheme, and it shows that the 2 encounter sets they're recommending as disasters, which I'm assuming is environmental based or side scheme based, kind of like we saw this back in Hood, where there was things that you have to deal with around the city at the same time. So like, oh, there's a bank robbery, deal with the bank robbery while also fighting the Protection Racket. Also, there's the Tracksuit Mafia, which this showed up, I think, in the Hawkeye shows. I'm not sure if this shows up from film or TV or shows up in the comic books. I looked up at this a bit. They're seeming to be nice Polish gangsters that say the word yo a lot, I think. They were charming from the clips I watched on YouTube, but it looks like they're showing up in this game, which I don't know if those are from the comic books. Those might just be from the television, and people enjoy those. So how this works, each player chooses a single Protection Racket main scheme. There's, I think, 5 of them. I'm not sure how many, maybe the article says. And if you're playing on Expert, it's randomly dealt to you, which, like, that's a fun little way to make Expert matter a bit more. And you set all the unused ones aside, because you can be swapping them in, which is great. Oh, they say bro, not yo. Yeah, they say bro. Yeah. The actor who is one of the main actors is like a respected Polish actor too. So it's cool to see them get more English work. But yeah, they're Polish. Again, if they're from Eastern Europe, they're villains. I guess that's just how it goes in media, huh? Hey, Akura, someone mentioned using the Civil War villains with these modular main schemes, and I've been excited to give that a shot. Yeah, like maybe making that mechanic, like thematically makes sense is a bit of a stretch, but these are like, the fact that these are modular main schemes, the idea is you could play any villain with these, right? Maybe the villains that have synergy with their main schemes, like you can't play Hela on these, but there's no reason you can't get into a car chase with Claw. There's no reason you can't get into a car chase with the Hood, right? Like, that's really quite neat, that you can use these with modularity. And as much as I talked about not loving modularity in some ways, at least this main scheme seems like a very promising independent article, as opposed to Civil War, which was just seems like a bunch of mid cards that you can shuffle together to make a mid result. Yeah, cool. Don't forget the round ends after the villain phase. Yeah, the round ends after the villain phase. Oh, yeah, you're right. The round ends after the villain phase, so there should always be threat on this, unless you can stop the threat from being placed. So shout out to chat to greater responsibility. You could play hard, not what's it called? The one that says if you perfect defend, remove threat. That one's probably really good. Hard to ignore. Like, you're right, you have to actually build your deck around it. You can't just like remove threat. So like hard to ignore seems like a very easy card to play into that matchup. That's a very big thing to point out. That actually has a huge change on how the scenario plays out. Yeah, hard to ignore. Yeah, very, very good shout out. I don't think I realized that. All right. So the scenario has multiple crimes going around all at once, which means the heroes will have to divide and conquer if they want to bring the chaos to a halt. Each player has their own main scheme to deal with, each one representing a different shop to protect, and they all have certain conditions that add additional threat to them. For example, excess damage will dealing with a bull in a china shop. I don't know who this villain is, but it seems to be a bull. Force interrupt comes in with no threat, gets 1 per turn. I read this originally backwards, where it comes in with 1 and gets 0 per turn, which I honestly thought was kind of interesting. Has 10 threshold. If any main scheme is completed, everybody loses, so watch out. And it's cool that you have this sort of like Kang-esque thing where everyone has their own problem, so everyone's going to have their own main scheme in front of them. As much as you can thwart anyone's main scheme, you can help them with their main schemes. And it says when excess damage is dealt to an ally in expert mode to an ally or a minion in the play area, place an equal amount of threat on this scheme. I was pretty sure that Daredevil would have a chance of wanting to do exact damage. Maybe we'll see something in one of the characters, like the character on this art, who I forget his name, Iron Fist, I think. But like, I wouldn't be surprised if we eventually do get a hero's kit that's around doing perfect thwart or perfect damage, because that's a fun archetype, and it only works if you have a modularity of control about seeing the future or like controlling boost icons, something like that. But yeah, Bull in a China Shop seems kind of fun. You have to do perfect damage. There's gonna be some heroes that are better than that than others. Playing Domino and just trying to get lucky and not shoot the vases off the wall when you draw a boost to do 2 damage where you wanted 1, like that's gonna be cool fun. This seems cool. Just like fun. It allows you to play different. It forces you to play different. And you have to be careful. That's really, really interesting. Okay. In a similar fashion, Hung Out to Dry takes place in a cramped laundromat, which means more combatants are present, the messier it gets. Is this a Joey Vasquez? Yeah, of course it is. So force response, same with 10 threat, gets 1 per turn, starts with nothing. After a character enters play in this area, deal 1 damage and place 1 threat. Notably, this is a character, so it's both allies and minions, so toughness is pretty shit. This can randomly be one of the ones you end up in, but this one's like, okay, I don't think it's going to change how you play. It's just going to punish your deck, potentially. The final one is the Pawn Shop Showdown. This one's really cool. It says reduce the cost of the first upgrade played in each area, each round. Oh, sorry, into this area. Yeah, each round by 1. But after an attachment or upgrade enters play, you have to place 1 threat here. I'll take that trade. I'll trade 1 resource for 1 threat usually. I love playing upgrades. I love playing mid-cost upgrades, 2 to 3 cost upgrades, mostly 2 cost upgrades. So this one like speaks to me really well. And it's cool that we're kind of in this pawn shop stealing upgrades from the wall. I like it. We don't find out too much else besides this card Change of Venue, which shows Hammerhead getting thrown through a wall. And then it just says Surge when revealed, swap your main scheme with a random set aside main scheme. Place that threat from the previous scheme on the new scheme. Now, this, I'm assuming, means we'll get at least 5 venues by definition. Maybe we'll get more. I don't know what the article says, but if you have 4 players, you're going to always need 1 set aside side scheme. So I'm assuming we'll get at least 5 because there has to be 1 set aside one, which is good. This is fun. This is fun. That's just like it. Like this to me feels like what they wanted to do with Mutant. What's it called? The one where you're protecting the X Mansion. I forget the name of that one. Protect the X Mansion, maybe it's called. Where every location is meant to have text, and then your fight can like how you play depends on the matchup. But I think that Protect the Mansion scenario would have been so much more interesting if you could, through encounter cards, change which location you were at. Like somebody punches you through the wall, just like this art, and you end up in the cafeteria, and there's consequences to that. Like the way that they did that felt more like you're defending a spot. When you fail that spot, you have to fall back to the next spot. But it's so much cooler when the stage that you get to play your play on has to change and you have to react to that. Like it's also very cool for this sort of like very scrappy sort of hallway violence you're expecting from the defenders. So I'm really into this. This like it looks sick. They just mentioned some rule stuff that heroes can assist one another because every main scheme is a scheme, and that's mostly it. But this one seems great. Now the Raft Breakout, this one's fun because this one seems like an homage to older releases, and I think it directly will be, right? Yeah, Mansion Attack, thank you. That's the name of the card, or of this scenario. The Raft Breakout, each minion gains 1 defeated, remove 1 threat from the main scheme, 2 threat instead if the minion has elite. Comes in with 2 per player, gets 1 per turn, if the stage is completed, you lose. This one is the least interesting one. Now, I do think it comes with a permanent upgrade, but this one just does feel a bit Civil War-esque. Now, the Raft Breakout is going to come with a bunch of elite minions that they shuffle into the deck, but this one does not feel like the most interesting. It just says, do you want to play minions? We got minions, so whatever. Speaking of fighting, the last of the 3 interchangeable singles that we'll show you today, is the Raft Breakout. As you may have guessed from its name, the scenario revolves around a mass breakout from the Shield Supermax prison, the Raft. This prison is chock full of enemies you took down in previous Marvel Champion campaign expansions, and they're all itching for a chance at some payback. People are trying to crunch this because it does look like there's going to be a handful of like maybe 5 minions in this deck, and each of them seem to be attached to a box that has come out classically. So like Rhino from the original core set, this is Proxima Midnight from whatever it was called, the Mad Titan Shadow. That means we're probably going to see a Spider-Man villain. It's unlikely we're going to see an X-Men villain because the licensing, the branding does generally keep them separate. I'd be very surprised. We have Baron Zemo from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but it just seems like it's kind of like a roster. And you can kind of guess who's in this box by like crunching the numbers and looking at alphabetically, because usually these are sorted alphabetically by number, is my guess. Otherwise, you get to see them, and they're just kind of big minions, like not much to say. Rhino is 3 attack, 7 health, toughness, villainous. Rhino gains overkill. I think this is the scariest version of Rhino we've seen. I think the Rhino that we know from City and Chaos is softer than this. 8 health, steady, overkill, piercing. That's about comparable, actually. It's pretty similar. This one at least figured out how to scheme, which is kind of cool. So yeah, that's fine. We also see Baron Zemo, who's really quite scary. Baron Zemo has villainous, and when Baron Zemo enters play, he converts one of your allies against you. That's going to be rough. And then if you don't deal with Baron Zemo, I think he continues to convert allies, but there's a lot of text on there. I'm not going to read it right now. Sorry about that. We have Mysterio, who's really cool. After Mysterio attacks you, so this is the Spider-Man villain from Sinister Motives. When Mysterio attacks you, deal each of that activation's boost cards as a treachery as a face down encounter card. That is genuinely cool text. I would be much more excited about the text if Mysterio was smaller but had quick strike, because a lot of times you just defeat the late minion that doesn't have quick strike before its text fires, which stinks, but whatever, that's fine. Now, this is the one card that does come into play. It's permanent. It says attached to the villain. And it says after the villain schemes against you, deal each of the activation's boost cards that is a minion as a face down encounter card. So at least this will guarantee that the minions show up a bit more consistently. But overall, this one seems the least interesting by a mile of all 3, because it just says there's going to be minions. There's no other interaction points we cared about. 3+ villainous plus overkill Rhino is wild. Wait, Rhino has a villainous? Oh my god, yeah, okay, wait, Rhino is way worse than this Rhino. I didn't notice that Rhino had villainous. Yeah, it's Rhino. It's what you want Rhino to be, right? Cool. Yeah, this one seems fine. I mean, this one, it feels kind of Civil War-y, I'll be honest. Now, finally, the man behind it all. This is Kingpin. So there's 6 scenarios in this box. The first 5 are all villains that have the underling trait, and you can mix and match them with, I'm assuming, at least the 5 other main schemes that you'll have in the box. However, once you get through those 5, and I'm assuming the campaign mode will make you touch every villain at one of the 5 locations, you have to face off against Kingpin. And Kingpin seems like kind of a version of George Osborne, George Osborne, I think. Harry? No, it's George, right? Mr. Osborne from the mutagen formula from the Green Goblin pack, where basically you cannot attack the guy because at first he's just someone scheming, but once you expose him, then he becomes a martial artist and things get really, really mean. So firstly, 25 health. It's an A1, A2 villain, so maybe it's a B1, B2 if you're playing on Expert. I don't know that means you only have to defeat Kingpin once. I can't tell how long you're meant to fight Kingpin for, but he does have a big health pool. As the final boss of the expansion, Kingpin's scenario breaks convention in a few different ways. As a master of manipulation with unending influence and connections, Kingpin starts his scenario by immediately calling on each player's set-aside nemesis minion. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means that you start with your nemesis in play on turn 1, because there's certain characters where that's like awful. I don't know whether it means that it pulls your nemesis side and it's standing, like it's waiting for you, because a bunch of Kingpin cards interact with your nemesis, but I'd be surprised if there's a scenario that just says nemesis shows up on turn 1. Again, we talked about difficulty being more interesting when it comes later as opposed to on turn 1, but I can't tell what the sentence means, and I remember the next sentence is not. Oh, Norman, thank you. George Harry Osborne? Who am I describing? Norman Osborn. You read that right. From the very first turn of the fight, you'll be dealing with not only Kingpin's schemes, but your worst enemy fighting alongside him. I'm still not sure if that means your actual nemesis is in play or whether you can get access to your nemesis. It kind of does seem like it is the former where it starts in play. There's no standard set used in Kingpin, so I don't know whether you use Expert. Instead, cards from his own encounter set can bring more of your nemesis cards into play. So George, am I just describing the Beatles? There's no Harry in the Beatles, but Harry Osborn is the son. For example, Kingsman Influence can bring in your Nemesis side scheme. And I do think people want cards that bring in your Nemesis side scheme. Rip to my coffee stain standard 3. But it says when defeated, the player who had defeated the scheme places 3 threat on their Nemesis side scheme. If it's not in play, they find it and reveal it. So, I mean, that's okay. It's 2 threat with a hazard, so you want to get rid of it immediately, and that's going to call in your Nemesis side scheme. Now, some Nemesis side schemes are not super impactful if your Nemesis is not in play, so we'll see how that works out. But yeah, it's cool. Notably, the color scheme on Kingsman cards are really interesting because this is brown and blue and yellow, but then a lot of Kingsman cards have a lot of red in them, and I think it's a look. It's definitely a look, that's for sure. For example, Kingsman Influence can bring your Nemesis side scheme while Bag of Tricks, and this is what's his name, Jack O'Hare or something. Why is this character here? Who's this O'Hare character? What's his name? Excuse me, this is the Nemesis minion from Rocket Raccoon. I don't know why this character is showing up here. When revealed, reveal a random card from your set aside Nemesis set. If no card is revealed this way, this card gains Surge. This can do nothing. There's a bunch of Nemesis cards that are independent that just surge. They say like, oh, Prowler attacks you. Prowler's not there, gain Surge, like whatever. Sometimes it can be bad. Sometimes it just attaches an attachment. So obviously there's a lot of variability here because Nemesis side set schemes or Nemesis sets are by no means made equal across characters. So interesting card. And if it whiffs, it surges, which is fine. As if dealing, it's Blackjack O'Hare. Is it Blackjack? What is the name of this character? I'm making yeah, Blackjack O'Hare. Why is this guy here? This guy's in space. Or in Jazz Jackrabbit. There better be a card that has a flavor text when I was a boy. Is this that Kingpin thing? I'm not too familiar. I know Kingpin more from Spider-Man stuff than Daredevil stuff, which maybe it's the same character. It's Fisk, right? As if dealing with your Nemesis minion wasn't bad enough, Kingpin himself can't even be touched. If you're able to bring the boss down, you have to garner public support. So notably, this is Kingpin. Stalwart on the criminal side. Or the base criminal side. Kingpin cannot be dealt damage or have upgrades attached. Wow. When Kingpin would attack you, he schemes instead. So I'm guessing this main scheme has either a huge threshold limit or just whenever it hits a threshold, something bad happens and then it clears threat. Because immediately you can't fight the guy, and so you're going to have to go get your public support. So how do you get public support? Excuse me, I keep losing my mouse. Public support is this environment. It says after a minion is defeated, place 1 support counter here. When the villain phase begins, if there's at least, and then you have to do some algebra. So for single player, it'll be 4. For 2 players, it'll be 6. So it's wild to see. That's pretty complicated for a Marvel Champions card. I don't think it's difficult, but you know what I mean. You have to flip this over and advance the main scheme to stage 2A, then flip this card. I'm assuming once we advance to 2A, Kingpin will flip over. So the only way to get to Kingpin is defeat a bunch of minions. I think it might not be unlikely where Kingpin schemes. That scheme goes onto a main scheme. When that main scheme hits a threshold, a minion spawns. Because I think this encounter set really needs to make you draw minions consistently. Otherwise, you can brick. Right? So I'm assuming that the main scheme or Kingpin's threat has to produce minions, which makes sense because him scheming is going to present gangsters and criminals. I'm really excited to see like a pretty like low level gangster set. That's something that we've seen in Arkham Horror, but just to get a character that's just like a gangster. I guess we haven't seen that since like street level, the criminal that you get in Sinister Motives, but just like fighting Guy with Crowbar is like a really cool hero thing to do. And I'm assuming Guy from Crowbar will be showing up in Kingpin a fair bit. Now, the citizens of New York have had it with crime sprees, and if you can take down enough of Kingpin's minions, the people will have your back, and you get the high side of public support. So when an enemy would would be given a face down boost card, remove a support counter here from here instead. So you can choose to use the counters to deny boost cards, and Kingpin does double boost, I'm pretty sure. Then Force responds after a minion is defeated, place 1 support counter here. As far as we can see, there's no way to flip this back, but once you get to the high side, it's just all upsides, where minion defeating, basically every minion defeat stops you from getting a boost card, which is a pretty valuable effect if you're not chump blocking. All right, you also have to cause Kingpin to flip as well, letting you finally take him on directly. And then we have on this side, which is this 2 scheme, 2 attack. He's steady. He has 25 health still. This is when Kingpin activates against you if you're not engaged with a minion. So maybe you want to leave yourself engaged with a small minion. It looks like there's a lot of support here for like Tigra pin down decks where you just want to keep a minion engaged with you. But if you don't, he gets an additional boost card. And 2 and 2 boost is pretty scary. I think we see a couple high boosts in the cards below us, but that can be up to somewhere between 5 and 8 damage. Like that's terrifying. As much as you can use those charge to mitigate those boost cards. But yeah, seems quite scary. That is a very heavy hitting potential villain. Now, of course, Kingpin is not just going to sit there idly. Armed with his bear hugs, this card is frightening. What is this card? No, not this one. The next one's even worse. So Bear Hug has 2 boosts. If Kingpin has the martial artist trait, which is when he's flipped over, attached to your hero, otherwise it can surge. It comes in with 3 grip counters. While this has grip counters on it, it will stay in play, and you cannot jump to alter ego. And while you would thwart or attack, remove a grip counter from here instead. No, this is the one I was thinking of. What the heck is this card? What are you meant to do with this? This forces you to waste 3 attacks and 3 thwarts. What? This is functionally confuse 3, stun 3. Like, I don't think we've ever seen a card like this. I think we have seen some cards that just say you can attack or thwart and have some alter ego conditions to get rid of it. Shout out to Enchantress, absolute piece of work. But this is terrifying. Yeah, guess I'll die. Like, there's a side scheme. My nemesis minion. I guess I'm going to lose. Like, what do you do about this? Yeah, the Shuri obligation you can like kind of pay through. It's okay. And Shuri has a lot of ways to do small attacks because whenever you fire a special, she attacks. But this cancels the attack too. So when you cancel the attack, that means you did not attack. From my understanding, I think it's like stun or confuse, so that you actually don't fire anything that goes off of the attack. Only if you want to flip down. No, well, it's bad because you can't attack or thwart, right? Like not flipping down is one thing, but you're just stuck there. Yeah, it's instead. So yeah, both problems are a problem. It's a forced interrupt. So you can't choose. Like you could read this to be like, if I attack, I'm going to choose not to remove a counter. You have to remove a counter. You have to not attack. Like this is awful. This is so bad. Like very, very terrifying card. His Mountain of Muscle card. So this one attaches the Kingpin if you can in martial arts. The art is fantastic in terms of like, he's big. Retaliate 1. And when Kingpin would take any amount of damage, place that damage here. If there's 8 or more damage here, discard this card. We've seen very similar cards to this. Magneto has a card like this. We've seen this before. This seems totally fine. It's a pretty good card though, especially because adding extra health to Retaliate is pretty rough. And why he's a man to be feared. Even once you've dealt with his nemesis minion, Kingpin still has plenty of his other underlings on his payroll, such as Spot. Again, we're seeing a lot of Spider-Man cards in this box, which is pretty sick. Spot just has genuinely very interesting text. We've seen Spot once before, if I'm not mistaken. When Spot would be dealt damage from an attack, there's at least 1 Spot counter on him, and he comes in with a Spot counter. Remove the counter instead, and deal the damage back to yourself, because you punch yourself. Otherwise, you place 1 Spot counter. So ideally, the way to beat Spot is do a small attack, and then do a 5+ attack. That is the best way you can deal with Spot. Otherwise, Spot is a nightmare. Absolute nightmare to deal with. That's a really, really strong and interesting minion. I like interesting minions. We also have Black Cat, and Black Cat brings up a bunch of questions because this article goes on to say that Villainous will be showing up on player cards because now there's rules of what happens when you have Villainous Black Cat under your control and you fire Villainous, and we'll figure out what the ruling is. I'm assuming you trash the top card of the Villains deck still, but I don't know. I'm also guessing we might get another word that means Villainous but exists on player cards. Because like people are guessing like maybe we'll see what's his name, the guy with the guns. Maybe we'll see the Punisher, and the Punisher could have Villainous. The thing is like Villainous just seems like such a narrow keyword that you can only give to a subsection of like these sort of anti-heroes, where having Villainous as a mechanic that you could see like heroic on a player card might make more sense. Interesting. Are you done? Sorry, Nolan. Civil War Wave still isn't on Amazon in Canada, getting hard to find for rural folks whose LGSs can still get it. Oh, bummer. Metaphor, you might be able to just get it shipped in from like a game store. I'm assuming the shipping can't be that much worse than Amazon. But yeah, if you don't have a local game store that gets it, I get it. Anyways, Black Cat, 6 health. When there's 4 threat here, she becomes under your control. She takes 2 consequential. You have to spend a mental resource to place a threat here, and there's 4 threat, she becomes yours. This seems really expensive, I'll be honest. Paying rate 4 resources for Black Cat, and notice that new scheme thwart technology under her 1 stat. I mean, it's okay. Like Karma is actually a really good card, but Karma is a good card because she costs 4, she gets you somebody, and then you can block with Karma. Having to spend 4 mental, and then if you don't have 4 mental, leaving Black Cat around so she can attack you with Villainous doesn't seem great. Like honestly, unless there's more interaction points, I'm just going to defeat Black Cat. I'm not even going to consider that text. Spending 4 resources, like if Black Cat was a card in your hand, and that actually does make it more expensive because that means Black Cat is functionally 5 cost. I don't know if I'd spend 4 resources on Black Cat. There's probably other ways to add threat to her is my guess, like side schemes, something like that. But like just spending 4 resources to get Black Cat to work for you doesn't make sense. I'd be interested to see if there's like other cards that allow you to convert people and whether that text shows up on other people. But yeah, I don't know. It seems really, really hard. I don't want to pay 4 for Black Cat. As cool as the Villainous keyword is. That's mostly it. And they talk about the new rule change. Last thing, heroic defenders. As with all campaign expansions, Fear No Evil marks the beginning of a new wave of playable heroes. So we're going to have Echo and Daredevil. We'll hear more about them. They do confirm some important stuff. They say the talented martial artist Echo enters the fray with a pre-built protection deck, and her playstyle revolves around mimicking the techniques of her allies and fellow heroes. That scares me because that sort of playstyle feels a bit like Rogue, and Rogue was not a hero that I find interesting in solo play. As someone who mostly plays solo, having a character that's only interesting when you can interact with another player at the table, not great. Now, hopefully they build something that's interesting in both cases, but yeah, that I don't know. I don't feel great about that. Meanwhile, the long-anticipated Daredevil joins the battle with a pre-built Justice deck. I think I've heard a lot of people say Justice was the guess for Daredevil, but it seemed way too obvious. But yeah, as a lawyer, Justice will show up. We're going to see if we have more attorney cards to play with. Coming alongside a special Sense deck that lets him double up on his actions. I don't know what double up on his actions mean, whether it means like when you play this event, play it twice or ready yourself. I can't tell. I guess you can guess here. But it does look like Daredevil Justice is what you expect. Both of these heroes are core members of the Defenders, and we'll be seeing the rest of the team joining in the months to come. And then you see the 4 characters, which, no surprise, we are expecting. See No Evil, Hear No Evil, Crime is on the rise in New York City. It looks like this is coming out in July. I believe Asmodee says July 26th, which is a ways away, unfortunately. But yeah, that's it. So Daredevil is just Hot Rod from Transformers TCG. 2 actions per turn while he has a ticked card. I'm assuming, yeah, we'll just get some sort of action efficiency. I wish Daredevil like cared about, you know, telling what's happening, because you kind of like sense the punch coming from my understanding of Daredevil. Hopefully it's interesting. I have no doubt the expectations of the Daredevil deck means that they'll probably do a good job. They've been doing a really good job with hero kits for a long time now. That being said, like Wolverine, I don't care for it. I'm assuming Wolverine was one of the most anticipated hero kits, but yeah, whatever. Easier in multiplayer to convert, but likely as easy to defeat her and move on. Sorry, Ryan? They could do the Punisher like they did Venom and Sinister Motives. Oh yeah, I could see that, where you actually like convert him eventually, but he has downside but upside. That seems cool. Yeah. Oh hell, you're saying that it's there because it's a Rocket Nemesis and this is all about grabbing Nemesis cards? I mean, that makes sense. It's just like, why pull Rocket? Like, it's a Defender's box. There was so many other characters you could have picked from. Maybe they just had good art of somebody digging through a bag, and that Rocket character does seem pretty cartoonish. Overall, I read this. I was pretty stoked. I like the theme. Defenders is really cool. The 5 modular sets, like, I'm assuming they'll be interesting enough. This is like, I said this earlier in the stream. One thing you have to keep in mind is like, if your feedback was from Civil War, I don't like modularity. You have to understand that that feedback takes about a year and a half to hit production, because this was already developed by the time Civil War was out, right? Like, this was already made. There was like a long, kind of like, how much time it takes them to make a thing, to put it to print, to get it to production, to get it to your hands. So if that is feedback you have and you think, why did FFG not listen to me? They can't, because it just takes time. You'll see the things that they learned from the last set, generally 2 sets later. So you will see that. I think we saw that a fair bit when it came to Arkham Horror, where it's like people complained about Scarlet Keys having too much reading and too much text. Then the next set came out, Hemlock Vale, and it had the right amount of text. But then the way that they reacted to Scarlet Keys was on Drowned City, which had way too little text. Like, sometimes you do just see that. I do think that kind of lines up with the schedule of what it takes to design stuff and get it printed. But that's that. Yeah, I'm excited for this. This looks great. I'm really excited to see Daredevil and Echo's kit. I'm hoping for the best, but what they've shown off here is like, maybe it's the best stuff in the box, but it looks like really good stuff in the box. And I'm excited to see all these underlings, and hopefully they all have very interesting kits. We're saying it's a lot easier to convert Black Cat to multiplayer since there's a higher chance of players having the resources of group, but she's still likely to just being to be attacked instead. Oh yeah, because she doesn't scale with player count, so everyone spending 1 resource is fine, as much as 1 ally in 4 players is less of a good payout. But I hear you. Oh, I forgot to show that there's this patron guy who owns the store. I guess I didn't open up that card, but there is a character who is one of the what is the word they use? They use a good word. There's one of the owners they have to protect. I can't see the link here. Oh, proprietor. Yeah. When revealed, put shop proprietor into play. When this actually does take up an ally slot, which sucks. It says when this ally leaves play, place 4th around the main scheme in your play area. And there's no way to get rid of this in a way that makes sense. This is just rough. Proprietor is just going to be one of your ally slots. It's a rough ally. It's a bad ally. I don't know if it's going to be targeted by things, but yeah, I don't know. This card is hard to deal with. The art's good. This is a Guido Bono. It's a Guido Bono. Cool. Link in the description. Seems good. Welcome back. Give me 1 second. We've been only streaming for 2.5 hours. We have another hour in us. Are we going to go and face off against the coffee stained fields one more time at Batroc, or are we going to just do something else? I think we wanted to add Spider-Man to our Silk deck. If you're just tuning in, we played Cindy Moon. We played Silk against Batroc, and it went poorly in the way that sometimes Batroc just does. We then spilled a whole cup of coffee across the table and damaged 3 cards, of which don't get shuffled into the deck, so we're not too upset about it. But still kind of upset about it. Maybe the shop proprietor gives you free energy drinks, remove 1 threat, and gives you self an encounter card. It'd be cool if you had a benefit for him and like you could rescue him or them. I think that would be kind of neat. Yeah. But we'll see. I wonder if we just go on to the next scenario in Agents of Shield, which like, or sorry, Civil. Yeah, Agents of Shield. Yeah, the next one in this box is like one of the easiest scenarios they've ever made, but maybe that's just going to be us getting in trouble. We'll try it again. I think we have to try against Coffee Batroc one more time, just so that we don't feel awful about it. Cards that we want to cut from our deck. So what is working, what is not working? I think we don't want to play Spider-Man Investigative Journalism. That seemed really important. I think there's a chance that actually like we don't want to be playing Upside the Head. And that's mostly because Upside the Head requires us to be ready. And for a bunch of turns, we're going to be exhausted because we want to be exhausted to be able to defend. Just as Peter Parker, Spider-Man is great with Overwatch. Nuke 2 schemes out at the same time. Doesn't he cost 5 though? Takes me a while to find him. Hold on. Yeah, it cost 5. That's unplayable. 4 health is good, but 5 health, 5 cost allies are so expensive. Now you can cheat this into play if you play some of the Web Warrior stuff that we're trying not to play. That if you play Spider-Man from your hand, remove 3 threat from a side scheme. I mean, like, is that even that good? 5 is so difficult because unless you're in alter ego, that's your whole hand. If you're in hero mode, there's some hands that you can't play this. And our deck is not heavy on research generators, so like that gets a bit harder. Now we do draw a lot of cards when we jumped out, but yeah, it's difficult. Also, complete shame that Doomsday Chair was not used in the set with MODOK. Like, how do you miss the easy layup and cool nod like Rise of Red Skull did with Legions of Hydra? Well, that's the last time that a scenario has used a card from the core box. I honestly think, and like, I'm surprised that they did this because this is not what Arkham Horror does, but I just think they did not want to use cards from the core box anymore. I don't know why. Like, it's so easy for them to do it, but like outside of Rise of Red Skull, they've never reused cards in the core box, right? Oh, my bad. In multiplayer, most of the time, I forgot how little thwart he gives in a single. Oh, yeah, you're right. In multiplayer, this is like, you know, could do up to 12 for 5, which is a lot better as much as threat does scale. The Spider-Man and Spider-Woman will go down swinging and save the day. So much fun. The one card I think we could consider is, what's her name? Lady Spider? This one I actually did consider and I ended up cutting because she's also very good at dealing with multiple schemes, which is something you do want to do in a deck like this that's playing Overwatch. After Lady Spider thwarts and removes threat from a scheme, if you control another Web Warrior card, which we will as long as we're in hero mode, remove an equal amount of threat from a different scheme. That seems good, but at the end of the day, you get 2 activations from her and she costs 4. Like, it's only good if you can heal her, but you can't really heal her playing just the spiders unless you play like the neutral medical card. But that card only cost 1 to give her another activation, which also seems not very good. Like, I don't know. I've never played Lady Spider. And like, in theory, a deck that's playing one way or another would love Lady Spider. I just can't make it make sense. Like, that just seems way too expensive. And I think that's the issue is like these cards become way cheaper once you start playing the Web Warrior package. But the problem is like for the Web Warrior package to be good, you have to play all the Web Warrior cards, which we're trying to avoid to do. Because every time we play Web Warrior hero, we end up playing Web Warrior slop, which is like every Web Warrior card. Give me 1 second. Okay, so the simple thing we can do, say we cut these 3 cards. This was suggested, and I think it's a great suggestion, is that at a minimum, we'll play Peter Parker. And that's because PD is good and actually helps us get ready. And we want to be ready because our abilities really care about us being ready. And then if we play PD, we can jump over and play investigative journalism, which is exactly what we want to be doing, which is not only a theme win, but we want to jump down to alter ego. This is really good too, because we can just hope to draw at the right time, which is good. Under Surveillance is a solo Jester's best helper. We have 1 in our deck. We didn't play it. It would have helped us last game, but we didn't end up playing it. So we'll get a sleep for that. I think this actually puts us at 40 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that puts us exactly at 40, so we don't have to add any more cards. I do want to say a lot of cards seem like they're underperforming. We played none of our allies, but I do think some of that is just like the Batroc financial pressure, and the allies are a fair bit worse than the Batroc. Let me get 5 sleeves. All right, no longer mint condition, well worn. The resale value off my Batroc is absolutely gutted. I'm just kidding if it's not obvious, but yeah. Coffee stained Batroc, he's back. Pursued by the Past is the one I feel the worst about because it's weird. And then we have an alert level, which like fine. We'll run it back. Surviving the great coffee disaster of 2026. Okay, so setup is as we think it is. So all we have to do is add 2 threat to alert level. Or 2 counters. Really well played, so well played. Thoroughly enjoyed. Brackets ruined. All right, we'll give this another shot. I'm hoping for the best, but I don't know. I don't know. We had no time this week to play Marvel Champions, so I haven't tested this deck. And like, it's cool that it shows, which means like a well-tuned deck is actually appreciated in this game. Isn't that the best thing? Isn't that the best thing to know? Is that your slop is truly slop. Let's get a good shuffle here. The fact that we drew into a hand with 3 swinging web kicks is like mega cursed. We also didn't rush the main scheme. It might be okay to rush the main scheme because the second scheme just had a bigger limit, and we decided not to rush the main scheme and where we could have. And I do think we spent so much of this first couple turns just spinning our tires and decking out of the encounter deck, which like we shouldn't do that. All right, round 2, fight. If you're not familiar, we have 10 health. The villain has 12. If you kill the villain, you just remove 6 threat from the main scheme. You can't even choose a side scheme. Whenever Batroc attacks, you place 1 threat on alert level, and alert level is a real pain because we have to constantly just spend resources off of it. Because once it hits 4, it flips. When it flips, encounter cards get worse, let alone Batroc's stats get higher, which is not good. It will flip regardless, and also when it flips, you can just lose the game on the spot, which is like, oh man, I don't like this scenario. Let's go. This time with intention or whatever. All right. Our alter ego doesn't really matter. If we draw Albert, we can fire text on turn 1. That was a really good thing. So let's try and replicate that success. Outwit. This is the one that cares about thwarting. Doesn't really matter on turn 1, but it's not bad to get. That's the best one we could have drawn into. This is the one we definitely keep. This is a maybe keep because this means we can start defending, and we start defending as much as we'll have a security cameras issue. We can get cards underneath us, which is our most important resource. I'm not going to keep this. I guess we could consider it because it just is a card we can spend as a 0-cost card just to get a card underneath us. But this can just do damage to the deck, which I don't love. One way or another, definitely could consider keeping this one because it's just plus 2 cards in our hand. I'll put this in the maybe category because it's not good unless we get thwarting. I think this deck only has 3 side schemes in it, and one of them is actually beneficial. It does remove alert level counters. We're not going to keep the swinging silk kick because we don't want big damage here as much as we could knock out infiltrate. And we have a quick whip, which I'll be honest, I don't know if we play this. It's nice to get it confused, but it's playing 3 cards to get it confused on turn 1. And with only using 1 confused for 3 costs, it's pretty expensive. Now, before I use one way or another, I just want to check through the deck to see how many side schemes there are. I think there's only 3. This is the one that we didn't see. It's Commandeer Security Office. And I think it actively has good text. Otherwise, yeah, there's only 3 side schemes. So this one, excuse me, comes in with 3 threat. If alerts on high level, place 1 acceleration token. It has an acceleration and it says remove 1 threat from alert level when cleared. So it's worth clearing. It is good. 1 acceleration on turn 1 might not be that bad. I honestly think we can just like grab this with one way or another just to set up. Now, the only way we clear this on turn 1 is, well, I guess we have to either get our cheap ready or we have to get an ally, but I think we can deal with this one. So if that's the case, we're going to keep one way or another. We're going to keep Spider Reflexes. We're not going to keep these 3. If we keep Outwit, we have to play it. It's nice to get your thwarting up because, well, for obvious reasons. But it might be expensive to play. I think we're going to hold on to it because if we get a double, that might be something. But we also want to mulligan pretty deep into our deck because we want to find our ingenuity on turn 1 because it's the easiest turn to play this card. But we'll hold on to it. It might be not the best idea. Clear the area. That's nice. That actually means we can clear the thing that we bring in, which is good. We love a skilled investigator. The second swinging silk kick and another clear the area. So this is fine. This is sensible. All right. This is why one way or another is great because it gets a card underneath us. We like cards underneath us. We will just simply flip up and we'll play one way or another. I don't know why I shuffled the deck so much, but we're just going to search for the brown side scheme. It's in play. We draw 3 cards. It comes in with 3 threat. We have an acceleration. We also remember we have to spend extra resources on alert level because if we don't clear at least 1, we can just lose on turn 1. We can lose alert level because if a Batroc attacks twice, that's it. We just add 2. Sick. Okay, one way or another fires. We draw 3. Eros, who's really good when you can use his text to confuse vulnerable stuff. A double is fantastic. And a Moon Girl, which we can't play, so we flipped up. Obviously, we had to in that order, but we legally cannot play her, so that's fine. She's a resource. Okay, so we can thwart for 1 and then clear the area there. That seems fine, just to get through our deck. So we're going to thwart for 1. The other options, we can play Eros for 2. Eros can thwart for 2, but I'd rather have Eros thwart 2 here where it actually does matter. So we'll thwart 1. And then we'll just do clear the area with Moon Girl, who doesn't matter, and clear the area removes 2 threat. And if this clears a thing, which it does, we draw a card. So we'll clear 2, draw a card. We will tuck this. We drew Albert Moon, which is fantastic. So this is cleared. We're going to choose to use our ability to tuck it underneath ourselves. Of course, we can have up to 4 cards, but now we're better at thwarting, let alone defending against Batroc. All right, we'll spend a double for sure for Spider Reflexes. So this means that we can now block for 4, and we're going to be tucking more cards underneath us, which is great. With this hand, what else are we doing? Albert Moon seems incredibly necessary, and then we can just spend 2 threat off of there. Getting rid of the outwit sucks because the outwit's actually very good. There's a chance that the outwit is better than Albert Moon. Albert Moon is really good, but I think maybe with Spider Reflexes, we don't need Albert Moon. This is actually like a really big pivot point because Albert Moon is either our engine or Reflexes our engine. I'm going to hope that Albert Moon we don't need. And I think with an opening with Spider Reflexes, we have a way to get cards underneath us because that's inherently what Albert Moon does is get cards. So spend 2 for outwit. So now we're going to be slightly better at thwarting certain things, which is mostly the main scheme, which is important. And then we'll just spend 2 to clear this. Again, for alert level, all I have to do is just spend resources, which like not a really fun mechanic, but it is a tax. We'll pass. Draw 5. Quick whip. Okay, so if we want to jump down, this is the option. I think our better option would be to find Professor. Informant, so if we get a minion, we can deal with that. Side scheme, when defeated. Oh, yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. We were meant to actually remove a counter here, so we can keep a card in our hand. Yes, yeah, good catch. So we can keep a card in our hand. So unfortunately, we've seen some cards, but the card we would keep was Albert Moon for sure. So thank you. I'll keep Albert Moon. Good catch. Thanks, Scott. Genius for Albert. That's fantastic. And we have investigative journalism, which is unfortunately not playable. I do think actually if we we're going to play Peter in this deck and investigative journalism, we probably should be playing the neutral card that says you can get the spider character that you want to get. I think it's this. Yeah. Well, it sounds like a Web Warrior card is actually expensive for us. So this is what I mean is if we're going to play that package, we should always play the 0 cost support that draws a card or upgrade, whatever it is. And then like you end up playing Spider Slop, which yeah, we're not going to do that. Okay, this goes to 7. Batroc is going to attack us for 2 and a card. We can get punished if we draw cameras because we can't exhaust ourselves, but we'll defend. We're going to defend with Spider Reflexes, so we're technically defending for 4. Batroc attacks for 1, 2, 3, so we take no damage, and we now tuck this underneath us, so we technically now can thwart for 4, which is nice. We have to add 1 counter to alert level. We draw an encounter card. Exhaustion, okay, at least we get around this, which is nice. We are already exhausted, so it just gets Surge. Leaping Kick, so I think we're going to get attacked here, right? So the Batroc attacks the ally with the most remaining hit points. The attack gains overkill. If there are no allies, Batroc attacks you. So coming in for 2 and a card, nothing we can do. Oh, mind you, we can tuck this underneath us in a second. 1, 2, 3. So we'll take 3. We'll tuck this and we'll go to a counter. And this is what I mean. If we didn't clear at least this down to 1 counter, like we do just advance on turn 1. If Batroc attacks twice, like, I don't know, the threshold feels so incredibly low. Okay, this is annoying because we are exhausted. And when we're exhausted, we can't do much. We now do block for a lot, which is good. Like we block for 6, so that's great. As much as being exhausted is a downside in this scenario. So my guess is that we have to just do quick quip, jump down, play Albert Moon, draw some cards, and see what happens. We could also just play Albert Moon. No, I think we do draw cards. Because I think we can get rid of 2 alert level cards, jump down, draw 2, play Albert Moon instead of recovering. So I'll start with quick whip. We'll take damage. We'll confuse the villain. We can't double confuse because he's not steady. We'll spend 2 to clear the alert. We'll flip down. In Alter Ego, we'll use our text here just to discard a card to draw 2 cards. The question is what we want back in the deck. It won't matter until we deck cycle. There's no chance we want Leaping Kick back in the deck. I don't think we mind the side scheme back in the deck. So we'll put the side scheme, we'll discard it, and we'll just draw 2 cards. So we draw Spider-Man and Smooth as Silk. Now, we did just get rid of our, our basic. Our team up. So Spider-Man's a bit less good, but Spider-Man's really quite good. The problem is when we play Albert Moon, we have to get rid of Spider-Man. We can't play Spider-Man here. I'm going to bite the proverbial bullet here and play Albert Moon. The other option that we could have done would have been greedy, is not deal with alert level, but we'll play Albert Moon and we'll just use Albert Moon's text to go grab the top card of the deck, which is Batroc's Brigade card. Cool. So I guess we'll do it like this. And we'll pass. Next turn, we can either get a card or we can heal for 3. So we'll decide which way we go. We get Organic Webbing. That's fantastic. This really wants us to max on cards underneath us. Very, very good card. +1 thwart, nice. One way or another is a perfect synergy. So now we can deal with both problems at once. We have Skilled Investigator. Could not ask for a better Justice combo. Those are phenomenal. We have J. Jonah, who also, this hand is really self-synergistic. We have Overwatch. This hand is incredible. This is exactly what the deck wanted to do. And then we have Dazzler, who is it's fine. It's whatever. It's Dazzler. She's here. It's great. But all those cards work so well together. That's amazing. This goes to 8, gets confused. I guess if we draw in advance here, we lose the game. So that's fun. We do. Good game. Admittedly, I have never so confidently jumped down when there's already 6 threat on 12. That's on us. That is technically on us. There was 3 cards in the deck that would lose the game on that spot. There was 1 Batroc's Leaping Kick, and then there was 2 Dark Designs. This is the issue with solo. The problem is you don't see this. You don't see me do this a lot of times on camera because I don't often have to go to Alter Ego every single turn. And yeah, against Batroc, I feel like I do because I don't like paying resources to not progress the game. The only way that we're okay there is if we draw a 1 or 0 boost, which that would have done it. Dark Designs did not do it there. Oh man. How good was this hand going to be? So say that we survive that. Say this goes up to 11, the highest it can go without losing. Say we get lucky, right? So what do we end up doing here with Albert Moon? We don't care about this Batroc's Brigade card. Actually, no, it's good. It's not that good because we don't have our plus attack yet. So I would probably just get rid of this to draw 2. Wall Crawl is really good. Spider Claws is really good. Albert Moon, I guess we can tuck a card. We should have done that in the other order. So we tuck a security cameras. That's really great. We would hop up. And this turn would have been so absurd, right? We would have done one way or another. So we would have searched the deck or discard pile for a thing. Actually, maybe we should have kept the other card. We should have kept the Batroc card because we could have got the Batroc side scheme. So we get Mad Science. It comes in with 4 threat. It just has acceleration. We draw 3. This turn would have been so good if we got to it. 1, 2, 3. What? You can do this? I did not know you could do this. Wait, Overwatches work on each other? You can do Overwatch on this, Overwatch on this, and they actually do work? Wait, what is this? Then we can play Skilled Investigator. So that's on the table. Then I guess we're going to pitch Dazzler for Wall Crawl. So Wall Crawl will remove 2 threat. Now this is not perfect because notably Wall Crawl does not do additional thwart. It does 2 separate instances of the thwart. So it doesn't interact with Overwatch incredibly well, but still good enough. So it says remove 2 threat from a scheme. We won't fire Overwatch on this. Then it says you may discard a card tucked. So I'll discard, I guess, Leaping Kick. I don't think it really matters because we lost the game. To remove 3 threat from a scheme. So we'll remove 3 from this. Then we'll crack Overwatch. Overwatch says, when any amount of threat was removed from attached scheme, discard this card, remove an equal amount of threat from this scheme. So remove 3 from this, which means we can fire Overwatch on this to remove 3 from this. I mean, that's kind of cool. Those are 0 for 3s. The rest of this hand, we drew Ingenuity off of them one way or another, right? Yeah, we did. So then we can just thwart for, I guess, who cares, for 1. We clear this. We draw a card with Skilled Investigator. It's a manifold. Okay. Like, that was such a good turn. Does that have to be removed by a thwart? Oh, yeah, I should have read the text. Removed by a thwart. So that actually does hurt, because if it's not a thwart, if it's just threat removal, then on Overwatch, it doesn't work. Okay, so it doesn't work, yeah. When any amount of threat is removed from attached scheme by a thwart. Yeah, so that wasn't a thwart. It was just an Overwatch trigger. So it doesn't work. Regardless, that turn didn't matter anyways, but yikes. Okay, what did we learn? I think we got a bit unlucky. Like, that was 3 cards out of the whole deck. The deck was pretty healthy there, but that was us pushing it a bit. And in solo, like, you do get punished if you jump down in the wrong time. And we did just jump down at the wrong time. One more time, I guess. I've learned nothing. And eventually we keep tuning our deck until it becomes more and more a Web Warrior deck. Okay. We had a good opening. We did have a good opening. All right, you know the drill. It goes to 6. We start here. We reset. Batroc's on full health. This gets shuffled in. Let's go. Emotionally devastating Batroc. I need to check my numbers. I don't think I've lost this consistently to Batroc. But yeah, it feels like the losses are always like those sort of scenarios where it's like, oh, he attacks you twice. Here's 2 threat. Oops, you drew cameras. Here's 2 threat. And it's just kind of over. I do think we need to prioritize getting threat off, but like, we're not good at threading on turn 1. We're only good at threading once we're setting up, once we set up. And that is catching up with us. As much as we've never seen the other schemes. Maybe alert high level is just a cost to pay. I would hope not, because the issue is like lying on top of that, then the other cards get so much worse, right? Like, then you just get blown out by this sort of stuff. So when alert is on high level, it gives Batroc 1 scheme, 1 attack, which that would have been a problem for us on that board state. Sure, I guess. But now when you draw this, if you are exhausted, it adds 2 threat to alert level, which means if you never, like, this is what gets me, right? So say that we're in high alert, Batroc attacks us, we block, right? That's what you want to do. You want to block the attack, okay? And then this was on 1. It's like, heaven forbid, we ended our turn with this on 1 of 4. Batroc attacks us, this goes to 2. You draw security cameras, you can't exhaust yourself, this goes to 4, you lose the game. Like, as soon as you're on high alert level, you have to end the turn with this at 0. And if you don't end the turn with this on 0, even if you like get a surge, like imagine you get, and this is like obviously not incredibly common, but if you get surge because you deck out and you draw an attack into, into cameras, you also lose the game. Because this goes to 0, Batroc attacks once, it goes to 1. You draw a card that says Batroc attack, that goes to 2. You draw cameras, it goes to 4. And notably, like, playing around cameras and being scared about cameras is one thing, but then you also have to remember it's the most common card in the deck. There are 4 copies of cameras in the deck. And then heaven forbid you have, minions. Which like, or allies, like it gets worse. I don't know. That will lose you the game. When a high level hits 4, you lose the game. But you're right. If this goes to high, we don't lose the game, but it just puts you deeper into this sort of situation where, oh, now you lose the game to just like bad encounter draws in solo. I think I have to understand that I don't like Batroc. I just not play him. Why am I doing this to myself? Okay, one more time. One more time. This time with feeling. Alter ego. Let's go. Clear the area. I mean, not amazing. If we draw a one way or another, it gets a fair bit better. Swinging Silk Kick. We haven't played one yet. Notably, if we do 12 damage to Batroc, we do 6 threat. So like this is a threat card, technically. This will only hold in the right circumstances. Those circumstances means that we don't actually have to jump up to hero mode, which is not great because we waste our basic activation, but it's not great basic activation. Overwatch, okay. Webbing at least is something, as much as you need cards underneath you, but +1 thwart is good enough. And our last card is Wall Crawl, which is not great on turn 1. Okay, so none of this is good besides webbing, so I think we just full mulligan this. Like, none of these cards are playable. That's probably something to do with our deck, but yeah, Silk is pretty rough on turn 1. So keep going. Moon Girl, okay, that's really good because we can play her on turn 1, let alone with enough mentals, we can get a new hand. Drawing a Genius would be incredible. Ingenuity is close enough. Especially because we can play, both of these are our only alter ego cards. Under Surveillance doesn't have a mental on it, but it's a good card abstractly. Quake doesn't have a mental. Albert Moon has a mental. So we actually have some hard choices here. We set this forward. The cool thing with Albert Moon is you can play Albert Moon, grab a card, sell the card. So you get Albert Moon in for just the cost of Albert Moon, the card itself. So that's not the worst, but we definitely want to play Ingenuity because it's our only resource generator. And playing Moon Girl is only good if you have a lot of mentals, because a lot of mentals means Moon Girl replaces herself, which means she's also only just a 1-card play. So I honestly think that we actually start with Albert Moon. Like, I could see us doing this into Albert Moon, and then Albert Moon gets a card. We sell the card to go a +2. Best case scenario is a Genius. If we draw a Genius, we Genius for Ingenuity. Then that plays Moon Girl. We have to get rid of the threat. I'm going to not respect this as much as we have to see what we learn from that. But this is an ugly opening because we don't have a double. Notably, I've considered Power of Justice in this deck, and it honestly might be worth it. We have about 6, I think, Justice cards that cost 2 or more, which is just the breakpoint for a single Power of Justice. You play a bit more, the more you have. About 8, I think you can play 2 and be pretty happy. I'm going to start with the Albert Moon play because I like Albert Moon. So we'll play Albert for 2. None of those cards have mental on them, which is also another thing that we're diving for mental resources here. So we'll use Albert Moon to get a card. It's Silk's Obligation, which is the easiest card for us to get rid of because it has no interaction points. So we'll use that with our alter ego to draw 2. Give us a Genius. That's a mental, but it also draws 3 cards. And that's not a mental. It's Smooth as Silk, which is not my favorite card. Now, the problem with one way or another is that if we want to play it, we only can play it in hero mode. And if we play it in hero mode, well, we can't either play Ingenuity or play Moon Girl because they're both gated to being an alter ego. So Organic Webbing is definitely worth playing. So I think what we need to do here is only play Ingenuity, play one way or another, and then use that to sort out all the other issues. The problem with Organic Webbing, though, is like we have no cards underneath us, so it doesn't do anything, but it gives us +1 thwart, which maybe we'll get the one with acceleration, and hopefully that's good enough. So I think we're going to do Smooth as Silk. If we use Smooth as Silk, it gives us basically a ready. There's no shot we play Moon Girl. No, but there's no shot we do this. So we'll just play Ingenuity here. So again, we're a Genius, so we can play this, which we're only a Genius in alter ego. As soon as we put the suit on, we get mighty thick. And then we'll flip this up. We'll play one way. Let's go searching. I think we're just going to grab the one that we grabbed last time. It worked out relatively good for us. Don't worry about the later part of the scenario. But we'll grab this, which comes in with 3 threat, which is a bit more than we can deal with. But if we get lucky, we'll draw one of our other 2 copies of the one that draws Clear the Area. So 3 threat. When we clear, we remove a counter, let alone we tuck it. So there's a lot of value here in clearing this. So we'll draw 3. This is still in her hand, mind you. 1, Scarlet Witch. She might be worth playing, honestly. She's a bit risky. Hello, Nanako the Cat. Swing Silk Kick. Hello, Nanako the Cat. And we did get to clear the area. So it's our choice which way we want to go here. So these are in her hand. Notably, if we do clear the area, we can play a card to draw a card. So if we thwart for 1, clear the area, that's an option. Hey, Nanako, welcome back. Scarlet Witch we can play. It's a bit risky. If it's something that makes us get attacked, that's kind of bad. If it's a thwart, it's kind of bad. Nana, please don't sniff those. There's coffee all over them. You should not have coffee. You're too small of a cat. Only big cats drink coffee, like lions and tigers. I think we'll just do the clear the area and see how it opens up. We can play the Organic Webbing and ready ourselves, but it's not a huge ready here. So we're going to thwart for 1. And then we'll use the Ingenuity to play the clear the area, and that should clear the area. So a couple good things happen to us. Firstly, we clear Commandeer Security Office, so we can remove 1 from here, and we'll tuck it. And then we'll clear the area, we draw a card. Outwit. I mean, fine. So this is our hand. Unfortunately, we cannot play all of these cards. So we're going to hold on to 1 card. My guess is Organic Webbing is probably more impactful immediately because a ready is just a bit more interesting. So I'm going to spend 2 and we'll play Organic Webbing. We can ready ourselves this turn, but it's not super relevant. The most we're going to do is attack for 2 or thwart for 2, but I think I'd rather keep the card underneath us in case we need that next turn if we draw like a minion. And I'll hold on to Outwit. It might be wrong. Outwit here means we're thwarting for 3, which is good. We've only lost to thwart so far. So I think we'll hold on to this and we'll pass. Pretty good setup, as much as we did biff the Moon Girl. It would have been nice to do everything. All right, Spider-Man is here. So we have to make sure that we can get all kinds of resources down. This card's absurdly good. We have clear the area. So unfortunately, this is the turn that we draw mental, which makes sense considering we saw no mentals on the other hand. We have mental energy. This is manifold. And we have strength. So we can play Peter, as much as spending the strength on Peter is a bit awkward. Okay, this goes to 7. Batroc is attacking us for 2 in a card. I think we just take the first one to the face so that we're ready, so that we can duck cameras, I guess. The first attack is free. The second attack, then we start worrying about it. So 1, 2. Boost, heightened reflexes. This is not that bad. I just think it stops us doing damage to Batroc, which we don't really care about. So attached to Batroc gets 4 leap counters. When Batroc would take any amount of damage, prevent 2 of that damage, remove a leap counter. We have no interest in hitting Batroc. So we'll put 4 counters on it. Batroc attacks us for 2, and we put 1 alert counter. Yep. All right. We played around it. Congratulations. We did it. Man, this card is so rough. So security cameras, it says, for each character you control, choose to either exhaust the character or place 1 threat. So technically our ready here is worth more than 1 resource, I think. So the question is whether we want to spend 1 more resource on this turn. I guess the answer to that question is, how are we spending our hand? The problem is if we want to do Spider-Man, which we haven't seen investigative journalism yet. No, we did. Yeah. Spider-Man is quite good. Do you just put 1 threat on alert level? I think we probably do. I just want to make sure that if we have any resources left over, at that point, actually, we have resources left over. We can just spend them on alert level. Yeah, so we should never really do this, I don't think. So we'll just do the security cameras thing and we'll place a threat. I will tuck this, mind you. Seems important. Nanako is, oh, you can still see her. She's cleaning on the table. Okay, good. Can we draw a card here? Technically with Manifold, we can draw a card. So if we want to spend Manifold, we can get Manifold into play, and our side scheme we can add to our hand. Our side scheme has a wild on it. So the question is whether that's an easier way to play Peter Parker. Because if we do say 1, 2, 3 with Ingenuity for Manifold, Manifold means we have mental wild, which is not enough. Because Manifolds are only energy, so that's not going to work. So the other option is we do, yeah, there's no good option to play Peter besides waste a resource. So we make him cost 4 cost. So we can do 1, 2, 3, 4 for PD. We can thwart for 4, which is pretty good. We can ready ourselves. Not that bad. He lives. Yo, Rana, we lost power last night. It was so annoying. We were out of power for like 2 hours. My partner was on a treadmill when it happened and she got like yanked off of it, as you might imagine. But she's fine. Yeah, I don't know. It was really wild. I think we still play Peter here. I think Peter's that good. It's a bummer that we can't heal Peter and or we lost our Peter recursion card, but I think we'll have to do it. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll play Peter. Comes into play. At least we can now do forward progress to the table, which is good. So what we're going to do is, oh, if we play this, we thwart for a lot. I forgot. I thought we had this on the table. We don't. That's fine. I don't want to use this as a resource, though. This card's really good. This card's better than Peter, isn't it? Nah, it's about the same. Okay, so we'll thwart for 2. We'll thwart for 2 with PD. Notably heightened reflexes. Am I going to jump down to lose the game again? It says when any amount of damage prevent 2. So if we attack, it doesn't do much. I think we'll just thwart for 2 one more time. We could legally jump down. We have +1 thwart. Yeah, we're on 2 thwart. So we're thwarting for 2, 4, 6, which is pretty good. I guess we can't keep Outwit. We'll pitch Outwit to do a threat. We'll use Ingenuity to do a threat. Off of alert level. Technically not a threat. We could jump down here legally. Like we're allowed to jump down. It's not likely that Batroc schemes for that much. It means we can use Albert Moon. I honestly am going to jump down. Maybe I've learned nothing, but I'm going to jump down with Cindy Moon. And then I'm going to just use Albert Moon, not to recover, but to get another card. So we'll just grab a card. It's another security cameras. Dang. Not that the boost matters in Alter Ego, but we want those in Alter Ego. We could draw 2 cards here with Albert Moon, but there's not a big reason to it. Like drawing 2 cards at the top of the deck, it's not likely we can play those cards. I guess we'll see in a results-oriented way whether that's correct or not. So we'll draw. Could we have played Dazzler into one way or another? No, so I'm glad we didn't do it. We'll draw 4 more, and this might be a good Dazzler turn because we can draw 2 more cards. Energy, nice. Spider Reflexes, that's the best one. Quick Quip, and Skilled Investigator. That's a good hand. We're actually drawing like good hands. This goes to 2. Villain Scheme is 1, 2. Boost Evil Alliance just adds a counter on our coffee-stained Pursued. So that's for 4. 2, 4, excuse me. Counter card, drawing nearer. Okay, good that we're in Alter Ego to deal with this because force response after your turn begins, discard the top card of your deck. It's a swing web kick. For every resource on that card, pull 1 on Pursued by the Past. So it's on 2. To get rid of this, we have to discard an identity specific card from our hand, which unfortunately is only Spider Reflexes. So we're going to use Albert Moon. to get more cards as much as we can recover. So we'll grab the top card of the deck. It's a standard card. I'm just going to use our alter ego to discard the standard card because I don't think there's a reason to keep it, and we'll draw 2. Wall Crawl is perfect, and Arrows. I'm just going to get rid of Wall Crawl to get rid of Drawing Near. Okay. I mean, out of all the streams you do, the fact that it happened during one of the first Arkham streams is spooky. I mean, it's so unfortunate. I was so excited to like figure out and learn how to play two-handed and like get some good like feedback. And instead it's like, here's 3 turns. Sorry. Feels awful. This turn is going to be good. So we have all these cards in hand. Seems okay. We'll flip up. We're not going to recover because we're in a good spot. I mean, I think this might be a one way or another turn. There is a scheme in the deck that is worth clearing. So let's do one way or another. So we're going to go search for the scheme that we want is the Mad Science one, not Batroc's Brigade, but Mad Science. So this one comes in with 4 and just has a hazard. Technically aim minions have hazards, or sorry, accelerations, not hazards, accelerations. But that's something we can clear this turn. Draw 3. Our side scheme, Professor X, and Spider Claws. Nice. This is a much better start. Okay, so here's the plan. 1, 2, 3. I don't think we're going to play Professor X. 4, we'll play Dazzler. I don't think I've ever played Dazzler. I might be wrong. She's just very expensive. But 4 cost, gets to confuse, comes in with 3 health. Okay, we want to defeat Mad Science because then we can tuck it underneath us. That shouldn't be that hard to do. Skilled Investigator will play because we're going to draw a card guaranteed off of it, so we might as well cycle. That's usually correct. We'll Dazzler for 2. We will Silk for 2, completing Mad Science, so we can tuck it underneath us. So now we have all 4 of our cards. We draw with Skilled Investigator. It's J. Jonah Jameson, who it would be a nice luxury if we could play him. Our hand here, alert level is relatively low, which is good. We always have the Ingenuity left over. We could play Get the Scoop. It's just nice to have something for Overwatch. But if we play Get the Scoop, we can't play Spider Reflexes and Spider Claws, which might be more important that we just set up like that. So I think we will. And then we can just use Ingenuity on alert level and keep it clean. So we'll do 2. Oh, wait. No, I guess we can't do alert level. That's fine. We'll do 2 for Spider Reflexes, and then we'll do Ingenuity for Spider Claws. So now we are set up well. We could actually ready ourselves here. I think Mad Science is actually worth pinning underneath us because with Spider Claws, this actually gives us it gives us 3 attack, and there are a bunch of 3 health minions in the set, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe they're 4 health, I can't remember. But Spider Claws gives us +1 attack and piercing, and Spider Reflexes gets us +1 defense based off of what we're blocking against. And on this board state, it's a really big number. We can still do Spider-Man stuff. In theory, you should only use Spider-Man on board states where you can get good value out of Silk. Right now, Silk's good value is just attacking for up to 5, which actually does seem like it's probably worth it. So we will thwart with Spider-Man. We're ready, Silk. The other options, we can just advance this. And let's talk about advancing this. What happens when we advance this? This next side has 10 health. Oh, actually it has a lower threshold. Okay. But it comes in with 3 threat. And when you clear it, you can reset it and you can go get back. You get a person you want to rescue, which you do want to rush those out. Oh, that's where we're sitting. Yeah, right in front of the chat. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, Batroc's in your butt. Thanks, Nanico. Just itchy. Okay, so I can't tell which one we want to do. Doing damage to Batroc like doesn't really matter that much. In fact, actually with heightened reflexes, it definitely doesn't matter. So I am going to scheme for 2 and we're going to complete this and go on finally to see what the second scheme looks like. Locate missing persons. So there's just some flavor on one side. On the other side, we have a lot of text. This might be the most amount of text on a single main scheme. Citation entirely needed. So it comes in with 3 threat. It gets 1 per turn, but force interrupt when the last threat is removed from the scheme. Put 1 set aside rescued captive ally into play. There are 4 of them. They just have good text. You can exhaust them to remove threat. The players may advance to stage 3A if they do not advance, place 3 threat here, and then you can do it over and over again. So technically you can stay here forever. The most amount of people you can rescue is 4. And once you get the 4th person, you might as well just like run away. And then you have to escape. All right, we'll pass. We did take some risks here. We'll see if they pay off or not. We draw 5 cards, so we just don't deck out. Smooth as Silk, Genius, Eidetic, Quick Quip, and Overwatch. We can jump down here. Our last card in our deck, for what it's worth, is Informant, which has been obviously underperforming. Okay, this goes to 4. Villain's now attacking for 2 and a card. We don't want to chump block. Getting Spider-Man in the bin right as we cycle is like pretty perfect. I think we will just defend. We will use spider reflexes. So we are defending for 3, 4, 5, 6. So Batroc is attacking for 2. Boost nowhere safe just adds a counter here. So our nemesis is going to show up soon. We take no damage and we tuck nowhere safe underneath us. We can replace one of these cards. I don't have a real reason to tuck a standard card because the only way it's good is how it interacts with eidetic memory, but it's not really important. So we will choose not to tuck it. It begins. Oh, this should be a 2. So in theory, Batroc can attack twice here and it can just all be over. Or at least alert high level will be over. So we draw 2 cards. Yep, it's beginning. It's happening. The thing is happening. Leaping kick is happening. Batroc attacks the ally with the most remaining hit points. So it's attacking Dazzler. The attack gains overkill. We can't defend it. So this is just going to go through. So Batroc is attacking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 to Dazzler, 2 to her face. And congratulations. Even though this is on 1 threat, we advance in a single turn. Oh my God. So this goes to 3 and then this goes to 4 because Dazzler was defeated and of course Batroc attacked. Alert level flips. Batroc now gets +1 scheme and +1 attack. So I'm going to forget that. So I'll put some dice on Batroc. If there's at least 4 threat here, we lose the game. And same text after a character is defeated by consequential, by consequential, place 1 threat here. Now Alden counter cards gets worse. If we draw this, we don't lose. But if it's cameras, we have to put 2 threat on there. So not great. Same text, spend 1 resource to get rid of this. I think that's it, right? I feel like I'm forgetting something. No, I don't think so. Oh yeah, the numbers. Just so we don't forget. Aim soldier, okay. So this is going to cause 2 more problems. So patrol. So when revealed, and it does come in with 3 health, as much as when we defeat it, we add counters. We have to search the deck and discard pile for aim scientist, which that one does is soft to statuses. Cool. So could be worse, but yeah, man, those alert counters are so annoying. All right, Aim Scientist is a really interesting card. It has only 2 health. It cannot be targeted. It has vulnerable. Now, Surge doesn't fire because we put it into play. We didn't reveal it. And while we're engaged with another character, we can't attack the Scientist. Now, Quick Quip is actually quite nice on this hand because we can Quick Quip the Scientist as much as we lose the Quick Quip value on, what's it called? On Batroc because he's already confused. But that actually might still be worth it because if we attack Aim Scientist, we have to also pay another resource. So it technically makes the Quick Quip cost only 1 if you want to look at it like that, which is a way to look at it. We are relatively healthy. We can ready ourselves. Yeah, seems fine. The question is, what card do we get underneath us? I think I'm going to get rid of the Mad Science, but if we get rid of the Mad Science, we can't get rid of the Aim Soldier. So I'm going to get rid of Commandeer. And we're going to use our Organic Webbing just to ready ourselves. Okay. Next, we're going to use Silk to attack. So our hero's going to attack into Aim Soldier. We're going to use our Spider Claws. And so we're going to get +1 attack with piercing because we have 1 aim science card. So we're going to knock out the soldier. When we do that, we have to put 1 alert level on the alert and we're going to choose to tuck the soldier. So now we have 2 science cards. Cool. That's good. We'll use Spider-Man here to thwart for 2 off of this. In fact, it might have been right to use Spider-Man. No, it's fine. Yeah, not to ready ourselves with the organic webbing, but we're actually like bursting when it comes to cards underneath us. Spider-Man gets knocked out, but first Spider-Man allows us to ready our friend here, Silk. Okay. I think we have to quick quip here. So we'll do quick quip. So we'll take a damage. We'll confuse the aim scientist, which discards it. So we don't have to do any of the threat stuff. We have no one else to put the other thwart on or the confuse on. This leaves us with this. This hand is not incredible. We can always just put Overwatch here for fun. If we thwart for 2, we clear locate missing person and we get a person in play and we actually add threat to this. But I think that's probably worth it because we want them as soon as possible. So we will thwart for 2 off locate missing persons and we will do the text. So it just says, place 3 threat here and put into play a rescued captive. I think they come into play exhausted. Yeah. So rescued captive is the card that we have. All of them have the same text and the same art. Come in with 5 health. Victory -1. So it does not count against your ally limit, which is cute. And we can exhaust this to remove 1 threat from the main scheme. So you do snowball a fair bit once you get to this point. We'll just use ingenuity to clear the alert level. We are going to jump down here. Unlikely to lose, but it's happened before. Then I think we're just going to play eidetic memory Now this card, I'm not only going to forget to use, but we're going to forget to use it. The cool thing with this is we can actually show security cameras as our encounter card. So if we draw another Batroc card, like the card that says Batroc Schemes, which is Batroc's Leap, we can just say no, instead security cameras, remove a counter surge, which there's no counters on it, but that's an idea. We'll flip down. We'll just use Albert Moon here. Oh, actually, we could have maybe drawn 2 cards first. We know the card we're drawing is Informant, which is not incredibly useful. It's also not good to be jumped down into Alter Ego while we're drawing 2 encounter cards. So we are maybe risking the whole game here. But I think we'll just use Albert Moon here to recover 4 because that's pretty good value, and we'll pass. Yeah, drawing 2 cards is okay, but we know one of the cards is this, which at least is playable, but I'm not excited to do it. All right, we'll pass. We draw up 1 encounter card, shuffle, draw 5 more, and then we'll be drawing 2 more in a second. This is the wild interaction with eidetic memory and the cameras and Alter Ego. Love it. It's good. As much as the problem is if you're an Alter Ego, there's not threat on the alert level. So with that in mind, we could have in theory not removed a threat, but we were wasting a resource. So I guess we might as well. We are relatively good here. Like we are now attacking for 4 consistently. We're thwarting for still only 2. Eventually it'll be 4. But we should be able to like we are set up, right? We are a setup hero and we are set up. But yeah, eidetic is like massive. Is there any scenario that has like a really non-consequential encounter card or like, oh, 3 health minion? Like, I don't care. And the fact that you can cancel every like mean encounter card that Apocalypse like, you know, attacks you with overkill or whatever, and just make it, I don't know, heal 2 or give a toughness, like against Thanos, give a toughness, give a boost card. It's pretty good. All right, 1, 2, clear the area. Could be nice. Smooth as Silk, Scarlet Witch. Clear the area. Ugh. Overwatch. Ugh. It's not good. At least we're drawing 2 more cards, but that is not a hand I'm excited about. This goes to 4. We're confused. 2 encounter cards. We could get very unlucky here. Aim Soldier. Okay, it's back. So in theory, we can replace the Aim Soldier with Mad Science, and I honestly think we do it. Because eidetic memory can fire here. Eidetic memory says when you reveal a card from the same encounter set as a card tucked underneath, exhaust eidetic memory, swap those cards. I honestly don't want to deal with the Aim Soldier because that's 2 minions. So I'm going to actually do eidetic memory and I'm going to swap it by revealing Mad Science, which seems so much better because not only do we have an Overwatch on the table, we have 2 cleared areas in our hand. So swap. So you actually keep the Aim Soldier, which is nice. And then we have Mad Science in play, and that's actually a really cool interaction. I'm glad that we played the eidetic. It's a very, very powerful card. Next encounter card. Master Plan. Okay, never mind. We got punished. Master Plan says place 4th round on each side scheme. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but like obviously the ordering there is not what we wanted. It's fine. Okay, cool. It's back to us. So things that we can do down here without thinking too much about it. We can do Albert Moon to heal 4. That's not necessary. So I think we're going to start. Our Aim Soldiers don't really do much. The big breakpoint is having 1 Aim Soldier underneath us so we can knock out the other Aim Soldiers, but I think most of the Aim Soldiers are here, so that's okay. I think there's only 1 more Aim card, which might be an Aim Soldier. So I think I get rid of the Aim Soldier with our Alter Ego just to draw 2. Spider-Man's back. And Investigative Journalism. The problem with this card is that it's an Alter Ego action. So if we want to play it, we have to spend our whole turn down here or hold it in our hand, which I'm not excited about that. We can now use Albert Moon just to grab a card. I mean, I imagine we do. Healing for 1 seems a bit silly, so we'll just tuck the top card of the deck. It is a Batroc card, so that's unique. Cool. Okay, Rescued Captive is from any scheme, or is it just the main scheme? Main scheme. Okay, so that's good enough with what we have. Okay, so cards that we do and don't want to play. That's a big number. We don't have a Wall Crawl. Wall Crawl would have been pretty good here. I think we want to clear the area to locate missing person. And the problem is we have no burst thwarting, and Overwatch needs you to do a burst thwart. And we don't have that. No matter what, I'm pretty sure here. No, we actually might not do Rescue Captive on the first one. We might do it on the second one because we do 2 into 2. Mad Science is annoying. We have no Confuse in our hand. I'm scared of playing Scarlet Witch, but I did put her in the deck for a reason. But yeah, what do we do here? We also could do the double Overwatch as much as they don't fire each other. If I thwart this and then thwart this, you technically get a bit more value. That actually might be good. Notably, Overwatch is considered your upgrade because it is. So it is you. So for anything that requires us to defeat something or to remove something, we have done it with Overwatch if Overwatch fires. So we could like thwart this for 2. Then we could clear the area of this, which clears the area of this. Then it puts 3 back. We could do Rescue Captive, clear the area on this, which clears the area on this. Actually, that's kind of sick. I think we do that, right? So we'll thwart for 2. I'm not going to hold on to, I'm not going to play Smooth as Silk. We have 1 physical in our hand, so we'll hold on to that. We have 1 energy, so I guess we'll do Scarlet Witch and to clear the area. This will be fun. So clear the area says remove 2 threat from a scheme. Oh, actually, this is not a perfect plan, but if this removes the last threat, draw a card. So we'll remove this. So we'll draw a card. It's an energy. That's okay. Then we'll do its text. So we get another rescued captive into play, exhausted. Cool. Then it comes in with 3 threat. And then we do Overwatch's text, which just allows us to destroy this to remove 2 threat from this. Now, what I was going to do is clear the area on this to clear that, but clear the area only fires when its text itself defeats the thing. So we could just do another clear the area to get another rescued captive, which, yeah, seems kind of fine. And we just do on this whatever we can. If anything, we shouldn't have played this, and we should have just kept this to put on there, which I think is actually a lot better. So let's not play this yet. Admittedly, there's no reason to play it right there. So we'll use our rescued captive to remove a threat here. And then we're just going to do... Again, we need energy. Yeah, the double's not amazing here. So I guess we'll do... I guess it is Smooth as Silk. We'll do... Oh, wait. Mental, we have an extra on deck. No, that's fine. So we'll do energy into clear the area. We'll just do the exact same play again. Oh, I showed the wrong Rescue Captives card. So we're going to remove... We're going to play Overwatch. We're going to remove 2 threat from this, which clears it. Overwatch clears 2 from this. We draw a card. It's a wall crawl. Ooh, actually, we can clear everything this turn. Whoa, wait a second. We get another rescue captive. She's exhausted as well. Okay, so the gang's here. We're removing 3 threat from the main scheme every turn. We have to only clear the main scheme 1 more time. The problem is when you advance, it adds like a ton of threat suddenly to the expert, and that's not very good for you. So you have to be prepared for that. Okay, so I am assuming here we just play Spider-Man. We could play Wall Crawl to clear this and draw a card, but it's not incredibly important. I think we're just going to get it done with Spider-Man anyways. So we'll do Mental, Physical. Unfortunately, energy is going to be this to play Spider-Man. So when Spider-Man does a thing, we can ready another Web Warrior. So we'll use Spider-Man to thwart for 2, which readies us. We'll thwart for 2, which clears this, which we can tuck it. First, we'll draw a card, I think, with Skilled Investigator. I'm not sure if the order matters here. But we'll draw a card to get more information. Do we tuck this over something else? I think a Batroc card is good because it means we're better at dealing with the Batroc minions. We already have 1 science card. I don't think we'll tuck this. But this is better than the aim soldier. I just think we've seen every aim soldier, but I guess technically we'd rather be able to pull a side scheme as a justice deck than anything else. So we will tuck it, which is kind of cool. That leaves us with this awkward hand. There's no alert level, so I guess we just play Wall Crawl. The question is, do we advance this turn? And honestly, we might. Now, a really annoying thing about alert level is that the way the alert level is worded, it says spend 1 resource of any type, remove 1 threat, not spend X resources, which means if we try and use an energy, we cannot remove 3 counters from alert level. That hurts. It makes the doubles a fair bit worse, but yeah, that's worth keeping in mind. Now, if we do Wall Crawl, we spend 1 resource on 1 card to remove locate missing person. And as soon as we do that, we go into the final scheme, which the final scheme actually has card text on it that you need to know. Because it is a weird scheme that if you advance to it, not knowing what the text is, you can lose the game on the spot. Because it says, the alert level is in high side, deal each player face down encounter card. Otherwise, remove all threat from alert level, flip it to high side. In either case, put 2 threat here. And that's what I mean. Say that we didn't know that text, and there's usually, this doesn't happen in side schemes, which is another like weird difficulty spike with this scenario, is if we advance to this, it puts 2 threat on here and puts it on expert, and means if Batroc attacks and we get another encounter card that says Batroc attacks, we just lose the game on the spot. And we're going to have 2 encounter cards. Like, what? Like, that's absurd. That's so wild that you could just flip this and lose the game on the spot if you draw an encounter card that says Batroc attacks. Very, very, very strange. You don't often have cases like that where if you don't know the text on the card, you will lose if you make the bad decision. They usually don't allow you to do that. And merely once we get to the next part, all we have to do is remove the threat off of it. I think it'll start with 6 threat and we have to get like 12 to get out. Yeah, so it starts with 12, sorry, and it has to get to 18 to lose, and we have to remove 12 to get out. And we are removing 3 threat a turn. The issue with all these captives, though, is we have to duck them on the camera, which that's fine. It's not a huge cost. We just lose 1 threat. So like it might actually be bad to do the wall crawl here. So I think we're just going to do the small wall crawl and get ready for next turn. So I'm going to just pitch Smooth as Silk to play small wall crawl, and we'll just remove 2 threat and we'll keep this not at 0. Will we hold on to the energy? Will we hold on to energy? How many 2-costers are still in our deck that we want to play? The one that gives us plus X thwart is pretty good. I don't think we have to hold on to this energy. It's not very good for alert level. We'll pass. What else are we drawing with the double? It's like Manifold is a double. Dazzler is a double. Actually, maybe we'll hold on to this. It's fine. Eros is a double. That's good if we draw minions. One way or another is good. Prof X is good for the double. And we have Dazzler. Okay, so I'm glad we held the double. This goes to 2. We're getting attacked here by the villain. Is attacking for 3 in a card. We can exhaust ourselves to block this. We're not super concerned about damage here. I think we do want to consider being ready. Are we jumping down? I could see us jumping down next turn because we have Prof X and or Dazzler. If we're jumping down, we can heal for 4. So I think we just take this to the face. We've seen where 2 cameras are, so it's probably not that bad. So 1, 2, 3, 4, we'll take 4. We put 1 counter here. And counter card. It's a Zaran. So comes in with 5 health. When revealed, tuck a weapon upgrade you control. Otherwise, tuck the top card of your deck. Gets +X attack, where X is the printed resource card of the card tucked underneath them. So we don't have any weapons, right? Oh no! Wow, our claws are a weapon. Oh, weird. So we, in theory, could replace Zaran with Batroc's Brigade if we want to deal with this instead. Plus side, Batroc's Brigade is a side scheme, which we seem to be okay at side schemes. Plus side, it's also not an ally, let alone it eats our spider claws. So I do think we probably do the eidetic swap. This just gives a toughness to Batroc, which like we are never attacking Batroc, let's be honest. So I think we're just gonna do that. So we're gonna use eidetic memory to swap these two. So instead we'll reveal this. The one revealed, give the villain or every enemy a toughness. And now hero interrupt, when you reveal a non-elite minion, we can spend 3 resources just to cancel that minion and discard it, which is better because then you don't have to defeat it, let alone you don't have to put alert level. So that's fine. 6 threat. This has no other text that matters. Okay. Interesting. Hyper Velma's Diner, by the way, thank you, Toy Wonder. We lost power last night on turn 3, which is so painful, but I'm really excited to get back to that. Finding time is going to be the hard thing for sure. Okay. So I don't think we need to play one way or another here. I think we're just going to do all the threat work we can and jump down. Spider-Man's in a good spot. We thwart for still only 2, unfortunately. Oh, our attacks also have piercing, so it's not like this toughness matters, but that doesn't seem to matter. So I think we're just going to start by using our rescued captives here. So we'll use a rescued captive. Yeah, to exhaust or remove a threat. And then we'll do again with this rescued captive. Now, actually, maybe, I don't think Skilled Investigator cares, right? This is after, oh, side scheme, never mind. Okay, so we'll clear this. And we advance. First, we'll put the last one into play. So we have our 4th rescued captive. She is exhausted. Let's slide these over. But we have the whole army. Mind you, you don't need the whole army. You only need to leave with 1. But the more you have, the less likely you are to lose, because if you lose all of them, I think the game is over. Extract captives. So when revealed, if the alert level is on high side, deal each player face down counter card. Sure. Otherwise, remove all threat from alert level and flip it to the high side. In either case, an expert mode place 2 threat on alert level. Like, if this was a 2, we just lose. Like, I don't get that. How is there a card that says if you're on expert and there's 2 threat here and you advance, you lose the game? Like, the game should warn you about that. That's absurd. Right? Like, that's absurd. If it's on 2, you flip this, you just lose. Like, imagine spending 30 minutes on this, 45 minutes and just flipping it and you lose the game on the spot. Like, such a strange scenario. I'm looking forward to the next stream. Me too. I really am. I need to figure out what I'm going to do for thumbnails because I'm not happy with what I have so far. But putting effort into the branding has actually been really fun to do, like 1920 stuff. All right, 12 health. Next promote each minion against quick strike. So that's cool. As much as this actually is a hero interrupt when you reveal a non-elite minion. I think you reveal before quick strike, but we'd have to maybe double check. So when an enemy attacks, it attacks rescued captive instead. So they will be challenged. And this is when an enemy, not only a minion, could be the villain. If there's no threat here, we win the game. If the stage is completed and there are no rescued captive, if the stage is not completed, if the stage is completed or there are no rescued captives, we lose the game. So now we have to protect them. That's it. I guess we might as well just do this. And now we have issues. Jumping down to Alter Ego is also now clever because it gets around quick strike. I think that's largely what we're going to be doing here, huh? We can recover for 4 as much as we can draw cards. Okay. So we just have to get the threading. We really wanted to find our thwart upgrade. So we'll thwart for 2. So it's down to 9. We'll Spider-Man to thwart for 2. We'll ready ourselves. We will thwart for 2. So all we have to do is remove 5 threat this turn. Is that possible? Yeah, it's totally possible. We have to play Professor X and one way or another. So I think we just win on this turn. Yeah, I think we just win this turn, right? The question is if there's we need to find something in the discard pile, or sorry, in the deck. So are there any side schemes left in the deck? No. If there's a side scheme left in the deck, we could win. Oh, I actually think we can still win. We just draw 2 cards and alter ego. Yeah, we should be fine. Alert level would be so much better if it was like Unis. Yes, I agree. And honestly, I wish the alert level was just a permanent side scheme. So you could just interact with it with the fun cards in the game, not just paying resources to remove threat. Like, paying resources to remove counters is something that's so ubiquitous across all of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it's just a drag. It's like not fun. But if this was instead of environment, a permanent side scheme, kind of like, you know, the text, sort of like they've done that before. Not only would be a fun card that you could actually have as part of a modular that you could like maybe use in other scenarios. That's a bit tricky. But you know what I mean? Like it'd just be more interesting. I don't like spending resources to remove counters. We still do win this turn though, because we just have to do 5 threats. So all we do is 1, 2, 3 for Prof. Prof X enters play. We confuse. Prof X schemes for 3. We just play arrows schemes for 2. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah, it's fine. I don't think I need to keep repeating this. This scenario is it's not very. It's a weird solo scenario for sure. That's usually how it goes. Like the more time I felt like we spent on the first scenario, the first stage, which was really bad today, that's when we get stuck. But now having access to all these characters, like it just helps a heck of a lot. It really does. But all we had to do is we thwarted 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That was all we needed to do on that side. So good for us. All right, we got there. Sorry about that. That was a mess. Sorry if you feel like I'm a bit negative about the scenario. I should know better about not presenting scenarios I'm not excited about, but there's always something to learn, and it's an interesting scenario to talk about because it is very different than all other scenarios. Tone flag negative. That's mostly it for today. We've been streaming for about 3.5 hours. Again, we didn't have any time to really play any Marvel Champions, so this deck, while it's posted below, is probably very unoptimal. And if you want to make any changes to it, please let me know. Again, the link is in the description, but we had to just build this yesterday because it's been a very busy week for a bunch of different reasons. That's mostly it. There'll definitely be no video this week, but we'll be back next Sunday for sure. Very excited about that. Next weekend is also really busy. We're running a Netrunner tournament on Saturday, so we'll be out all day. So we'll see what makes sense. I've already plugged this, but Velma's Diner, if you want to watch some Arkham horror content, link to that is in the description. If you want to subscribe to that channel, that'll be there. Otherwise, if you want to take a second to leave a like on this stream or leave a comment or subscribe to the channel, all that sort of stuff is a nice way to say that you appreciate content like this, and it does help the channel grow, whether it's within the algorithm or just numbers go up, which is always a good time for all. I think that's mostly it. I feel like there's something I'm forgetting to say, but I can't remember what it possibly is. A link to the articles below. Very excited for the new box. Looks like it has some really cool stuff in it. It looks like, yeah, I love the theme. The theme has been awesome, and I'm very excited to get into a card chase. But that's mostly it. Hopefully y'all have been well. Again, we posted a video last Wednesday if you want to watch the matchup between Protection, Domino, and Ultron. It's actually like a really interesting matchup, and there's some things that I didn't realize, like how often do we fire ready for a fight? 0 times. How good is Professor X? It turns out in Domino. It turns out very good because he's always on top of the discard pile. And so there's a lot of things that were to be learned. We also put Change of Fortune in the deck, thinking it would be like so free against Ultron, and we fired it once, which is also like really, really goofy. But that's mostly it. Thanks so much for watching. Keep your coffee safe and your cards dry, and we'll catch you in the next one. Take care, y'all.